Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to 3Y TV. And tonight, it's the OSCA Sportsman Series, and we are at Phoenix International Raceway for the postseason chase playoff opener 140. And tonight will be 270 lap halves. Top 10 cars will invert. Should be exciting racing action here tonight. And along with me, as every week, Matt Bayuk and Carlos Acosta behind the scenes, along with Vic, probably correcting our mistakes once in a while as well. But Matt, we start the chase playoffs. You know, I guess we'll just call them both, since I can never get it right.
Oh, that's why I put all the names in there.
Chase off. I love it. I love it.
You know what? I'm
no!
okay with that. Let's refer to it as a chase off.
I broke something.
What?
The graphics aren't showing. None of the names are highlighted. Oh, okay. I'm gonna work on this.
45 seconds into the broadcast.
Okay. Carlos.
It was working fine earlier.
It's okay. You're gonna fix it. You always fix it.
So again, we have the playoffs opening. What was it again? Chase off. What did we? The place? I can't remember.
We've got the chase playoffs.
The chase. Yeah. And so season's basically reset for 16 of the drivers here tonight. You'll see them mostly with the yellow spoilers and nameplates on the top of the windshield. But Matt, it should be exciting. You know, I think the general favorite is going to be Nick Indelicato going into these playoffs. But as they always say in racing, anything can happen.
Yeah, and I know we don't have the we don't have the graphic for the points quite yet, but I do have them here. Just Nick Indelicato won 9 races. That's the wrong league. Indelicato won.
Just
You
you.
can see it. Carlos has got it now. Indelicato winning 9 races and the regular season championship, only with a 24-point advantage over all the drivers that didn't receive any chase points. So I mean, even despite all that regular season success, it's not a huge payout. Like to keep it a little bit close, still keep it in the realm of anything can happen, but there's still a little bit of a payout there to start this postseason chase playoffs.
Yeah, and then you look at some of the names in there. We seen Kian kind of getting hot right at the right time. I mean, he's closed that gap on Indelicato, it seems, speed-wise. We've seen Cooper Johnson, Damian Leininger, the guys that been good week in and week out when they are available and up front, staying out of trouble. But you never know. I believe Zach Evans was the name that was just recently dropped from the chase. He decided to step out because of scheduling conflicts. So I think that 16th driver will be Timothy Conrad. Is he? Oh yeah, he's in the race. Yep, he's currently 20th on the speed charts. But
Thank you, I'm blind.
Yeah, and even looking at the guy who ran real well last week, Ray Bracey, second on top of on the leaderboard here in practice. How about that?
And
how about
just? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
I was saying not just hot laps. He's got some green flag runs in there. He's showed some pretty solid speed. You know, after 10 laps on the tires, which usually that's telling. A lot of people. I don't even know what's going on here in the garage. Oh wow, this is special.
They're having fun.
Lots of guys can hot lap and set down fast laps, but after about 5 or 10 laps, you notice very quickly who's good at hot lapping and who's good at stretching their stuff out and saving it over the course of a run. Ray Bracey looks pretty good today, and for a guy who definitely I think is seen as more of a long shot to win the championship, he seems to be getting hot pretty late in the season here, and he's looking pretty good in practice already.
Yeah, it should be a fun one to watch here tonight. Is see Kian rally on top of the standings here in practice. And speaking of standings, how about those broadcaster championship with between me and you, Matthew? It's down to 1 point, but as they say, anything can happen. Carlos, he can make some upset picks here and pull himself up right in the mix.
I had a good week last week.
Yeah. We thought you weren't going to be here, Matthew. So, now I got to step my game up. I thought I could be a little relaxed and enjoy that 1 point lead. Now I'm worried.
Yeah, I'm here, so I'm going to be honest. I closed the gap by picking Nick Indelicato like 75% of the time. Usually, I try not to pick Nick or Kian because they usually run up front. But when I was down like 60 points, I was like, let me just pick the guy that I know is gonna finish up there and be a little bit more boring, not make it as interesting.
You know, and that's the thing now here too. Speaking of boring and with the picks, you know, this could go with even with some of these other chase offers that that are out here in the field tonight. You got guys like Dustin Dewar. You know, we talked about Timothy Conrad, Gutierrez, or it's Gutierrez. I thought he was in, or Gilberto.
Yeah.
I know is in it as well. You know, do they take chances? You know, maybe they are up in the top 10, but they gotta finish ahead of that 4 car, the 11 car, the guys who've been the class of the field all season. What kind of chances do you take, even though it's, you know, race number 1 here in the chase off?
You know, it's hard to say if you're Kian or Cooper or Damian or Seth, you know, guys that we've seen run more towards the front all season more consistently. I don't think you take any crazy swings. I think you can really trust your pace and trust your consistency to be able to keep you in that fight. But Kynan Jones, Alex Kenton, Dewar, Conrad, those guys towards the bottom, they may not be very far behind points-wise already, but they are seated low for a reason because for one reason or another, the regular season didn't go very well. They didn't quite have the pace. So, you know, I think you do take a risk early because I've experienced it. You know, in OSCA, I get seated like in the middle of the playoffs, and I'm like, okay, here we go. And then I get my ass kicked by Cameron Rich and Tate Lytle every week. So, you know, it's like, I think you do take a shot early because once those guys start to build up points at the top of the grid, it gets really, really hard to reel them back in.
Because it always seems like the general consensus for a lot of these guys that are maybe on the outside, you know, they're the ones outside the chase off. They're the ones that are kind of taking the risks, taking the chances. But sometimes if you're that underdog, there you see Kynan Jones. We've seen him some weeks have that pace, and some weeks, you know, he's having a little bit rougher weeks. So he might be in that position where if he's not confident here tonight at Phoenix, maybe see him take some pit strategies, take some chances that he normally wouldn't take. And hopefully it pays off to you know, say where they go. I can't remember where we go next week. I'll have to look that up. But Kansas. So maybe he's more confident at Kansas next week, and then that week he can rely more on his pace alone.
Oh wow! And as we look, Ray Bracey. I mean, down to the thousandths, it is a tied lap with Nick and Delicado, but there is a small little hair of a lap time that it gave him the pole. Ray Bracey taken the top spot so far over both of our top championship contenders. Kian Raleigh 4th on the board.
So that 80 car right now looking to play spoiler. You know, he got that confidence last week with that awesome 3rd place finish, and it's carrying over here this week. And we should see how it is going to pay off with right now sitting on the pole with a little under 2 minutes, almost a minute and a half to go here in qualifying. There you see Jordan Tarble going out to making his qualify lap. I believe there's only a handful of cars that have yet to make a lap.
Damian out there. Damian's out there still. Damian could have a say in the pole.
Yeah, he looked good earlier in the strictly stock series race, getting the win there. So trying to see if he can get this 12 car on the pole. But as of right now, looking like that 80 car beating a lot of the Shift Esports or S2 racing Fords.
I'm excited to see Ray Bracey atop the board. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing that's wonderful about the postseason chase-off playoffs. Does not matter how this regular season goes. It's a clean reset. And I know I've already said it once, but like getting hot late in the season, if you've got the hot hand now, when the points get reset, you know, it's a whole new ball game. Ray Bracey, more accustomed to seeing him claw his way up to the top 10, but the last couple weeks, and apparently this week now, he's looked like a guy that regularly runs. I mean, if my first 3 OSCA races I watched were this one and the last couple, and I wouldn't know any better, I'd tell you Ray Bracey races for the championship every year. He's been looking real good, and he looks great today.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I believe only 3 cars that did not take laps, but as we're winding down under 10 seconds to go, it appears Ray Bracey will be your pole sitter for tonight's chase-off opener here at Phoenix. And with that, we can maybe get our picks in if Carlos is comfortable with that.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I'm going to go ahead and once
Yeah.
again, as I've done pretty much the majority of the season, make the first pick. I'm going to pick Nick and Delicado for half one.
That's a smart choice.
Boom! Love it.
Let's see. I
Take
got
it,
the one.
take it away from Matty B. That's what I wanted to see.
All right. Listen, listen. I know.
All right.
Ooh, you know, I really badly want to pick Ray Bracy, but I think for now I'm going to leave him alone. I'm gonna take Kian Raleigh, and let me just go ahead and mention this real quick. Barrett Paulhemus and Zachary Rogers have just connected to this session. I don't know if they're racing though.
They aren't.
Ooh.
They're
they
joining
just
the
spotting?
spotters.
Spotters,
Okay, great.
okay.
Well, now you guys know what the spotters are for 2 cars.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Cue
Well,
the music.
You know, with that, so now I got the tough point. I'm gonna go with that 80 car Ray Bracy. I'm gonna go wild. I'm losing my points lead, hanging it all out there. Let's go out there with the Bojo number 80 Wally Racing Ford, and with that, we'll slide right into the starting lineup here for tonight's event. And as stated, the 80 car of Ray Bracy in that Wall-E Racing Ford, and he's out of Charleston, South Carolina. He is on the pole, and alongside him in the 4 car, Nick Indelicado for Shift Esports, and he's racing out of Syracuse, New York.
Starting at the bottom step of the podium in the 3rd position, the number 10 SG Racing Team Ford Mustang from Asheville, North Carolina. It's Ty McIntosh. His outside starting 4th, and the number 11 Shift Esports Mustang from Highland Heights, Kentucky. It is Kian Raleigh.
And in 5th, he's sporting all black this week. He feels like he's the underdog going into this chase-off. It is Cooper Johnson in his Beers Motorsports Toyota, and he's out of South St. Paul, Minnesota. And alongside him, it's going to be the young buck, Caden Tufts in the 00 Weekend Woodsman Chevrolet, and he's from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada.
Starting in the 7th spot is the number 26 Shift Esports Ford Mustang from Struthers, Ohio. It is Dallas Myhand. Starting in the 8th spot on the outside of the 4th row, it is Dustin the Dragon Doer in the number 32 Do Good Motorsports Chevrolet from Medford, Wisconsin.
All right, in that 9th position, in the number 86 In-Law Racing Chevrolet, it's John Lynch from Yulee, Florida, and alongside him in the number 89 Mountain Type Motorsports Chevrolet out of Dorr, Michigan, it's Brett Jones.
Back to row number 6 now, starting in the 11th spot, it's the number 12 South Shore Racing Chevrolet from Bakersfield, California, Damian Leininger. Into his outside, starting 12th, and the number 16 Nurse Aviator Racing Chevrolet from Kansas, it is Chris Gutierrez.
Starting 13th, he likes to do everything dirty. He's going to see if he can do it clean here tonight at Phoenix. It's Adam Tempe in the number 96 South Shore Racing Chevrolet, and he's out of South Bend, Indiana. And starting alongside him in the newly acquired charter for S2 Racing Team Ford, it's Nathaniel Cherry, and he's out of Alberta, Canada.
Starting 15th tonight, piloting the number 25 Shift Esports Ford Mustang from Peabody, Massachusetts, it's the Rocket Man, Seth Rawls. And to his outside, it is the number 99 S2 Racing Team Ford Mustang from Massachusetts, Gilberto Javier Gomera.
And filling in for the 18 car tonight is going to be Nicholas Monticelli in the In-Law Racing Chevrolet, and he's out of Hamlin, New York. And alongside him, it is the man who likes to ride sideways a lot of the times. It's Dylan Thomas for Mountain Type Motorsports, and he's out of Denison, Texas.
Starting back in row 10, starting 19th is Robert Hill Jr. from Canada, and the number 05 Mountain Type Motorsports Chevrolet Camaro. To his outside is the number 13 Nurse Aviator Racing Chevrolet from South Carolina, piloted tonight by Adam Peeler.
And in the 21st position is going to be the number 66 of Neil Rutt III for 3 Pedal Mafia. And he's out of Colts Neck, New Jersey. And alongside him, just recently acquiring his spot in the chase, it's going to be Timothy Conrad in the number 35 Weekend Woodsman Chevrolet. And he's racing out of Ohio.
Starting 23rd in the number 73 In-Law Racing Chevrolet from Australia, it's the Landshark Kynan Jones. To his outside is the number 5 Weekend Woodsman Chevrolet from Rochester, Pennsylvania. It is Cody McLean.
And starting in the 25th position, eastbound and down, he's loaded up and ready to race here at Phoenix. It's the number 39 of Jordan Tarble for Mountain Type Motorsports, and he's out of Thomasville, North Carolina. And alongside him is going to be David Carpenter in the number 71 3-pedal Mafia Toyota out of New Jersey.
Row 14, the last 2 cars on the grid today, not setting times. The number 14 of Alex Kenton and his Weekend Woodsman Chevrolet from Wyoming. Rounding up the back of the field, filling in for Zach Evans this week, is Rashid Coles, driving the number 6 Wally Racing Ford Mustang from Brooklyn, New York.
And hearing Zach Evans at a wedding, I don't think it's his own, though.
No,
So,
he's a groomsman.
He's a groomsman.
Ah.
Ooh, so he's going to be
Oh,
looking
boy.
dapper. Yeah. I hope he's in like a nice tux or something. So with that, there is your lineup for the chase-off
going green
opener
this
here
time.
at Phoenix. So we are going green, 1 to green. And all the... Well, go ahead.
I'm going to say 70 laps in this race today, in each half. The fuel run, I want to say, I know Vic said it earlier, it was like 45 laps on fuel, 45, 50 laps, 70 on fuel. Really excited to see, depending on how the cautions follow the way the strategy works today.
Yeah, I think this could definitely be a track where you could see different strategies that could all potentially work out differently too. Not a one strategy race here. We're about to find out as Ray Bracey leads him to the green flag. The initial start goes on green. Green flag is out. Ray Bracey hits the loud pedal, gets an advantage over Indelicato on the outside. He's
Look
going
at
on the
fan
apron. Yeah, you see that at Phoenix all the time, fanning out. Some of those guys cutting the apron, some of the guys staying up top. As Ray Bracey, now Indelicato falling
We
back.
got
Ty
lots of cars on
McIntosh.
the wall, lots of cars on the
Oh
wall.
man,
Tenors.
carnage! I think we stayed green in the meantime.
Wow.
There's someone on the apron. It might have been Thomas. Yes, indeed, without a front bumper. Oh, there's someone up in the wall. No caution as of yet.
I think
we
Monticelli
stayed
got a
green.
little hot. You'll see here.
Coming in hot. Oh, just pinches everyone.
Oh.
Oh, and Thomas nowhere to go. Hits the inside wall.
We have got an absolute mess. We're about
Wow.
4th and 9th spot right now.
Yeah, it is a dogfight indeed up in the top 10. Ty McIntosh is now your new leader. Ray Bracey falling back to the clutches of Indelicato. That's now for the battle for the 4th position. So now it's McIntosh, Rowley, Cooper Johnson, and Ray Bracey, your top 4. And he's gaggling. It's so hard to decipher who's running where these first couple laps because, like, as you said, they're fanning out everywhere.
Yeah, and tires going to be huge. I mean, it's a flat racetrack. You're really cranking the wheel and having to pedal it off the corners. Apparently, from what I've heard, it is fairly loose off. It's tight in the middle. The first 10 laps, it's going to be hard to tell. Oh, it looks like Indelicato gets tied off the corner. Some contact there between he and Bracey. Indelicato's going to be fine. Bracey's going to lose a lot of track position here.
Yeah, he's going to fall all the way back to the back half of the top 10, falling in the clutches of Dustin Dewar battle for that 9th spot. And, well, you know, you talk about that fuel window being, almost making contact there between John Lynch and Leininger. That, 45 to 50 laps on a fuel run, that's a big difference. That all depends on, I think if they shift or not in the corners. And that also can be a big factor in how these tires are saved throughout the run. So I say generally the guys who don't shift, they maybe don't burn up as much tires, but obviously you lose a lot of time on the short run though.
Yeah, and before we had that moment there between Indelicato and Bracey, I was getting to the tires. For the first 10 laps here, it's going to be tough to say who is really good because we're going to figure out who's going to start moving up and down the field, who really saved their stuff, and who's good on the long run. Early on, what I'm seeing Caden Tufts make his way to the front very quickly. We saw Ty McIntosh go up there and grab the lead. I do see Indelicato and Leininger holding back, showing some restraint. So I'm wondering which one of these guys are moving up, which one of these guys are going to be moving down as we start to get into this run here.
Yeah, there could be a lot of different mentalities here to start this runoff here, see if they burn the tires up. Right now, you see Bracey, we got the camera on him yet, holding that 9th position.
It works.
Could be potentially saving those tires. Oh yeah, it does work. Yeah. So now you see the guys highlighted in yellow are the chase-off competitors. And man, they're sprinkled
Postseason
all
chase
over the top
playoffs.
20. postseason chase,
Postseason chase
playoffs, chase off. I was trying to
Yeah.
think of. I was trying to think of another word, and I think I used them all that I
don't
know.
think there are any
I
more
like
that are
chase
anymore.
offs.
Yeah.
Chase offs
Chase-off.
is unique. It's a mashup between it.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna
Yes.
do something I have never done. I'm gonna change the name of the
Uh-oh.
race after it's already started.
Oh my
Ooh.
goodness. It's a bit of a move there.
That is a move. And ooh, we see another move here. Rocket Man, he's going to try to get into the top 10. He makes a move past Dustin Dewar. Now Peeler trying to follow suit. But Rocket Man trying to get up to the front. And he's another guy, you know, he might not have always had the luck, but as far as his finishes are concerned, it seems like his luck and finishes are starting to turn the right way. And now that we are in this postseason chase-off opener, it could definitely be a whole new season here for that number 25 car of Seth Rawls.
Yep, and
Yeah,
new race name.
A new race name.
New race name. Speaking of, and not just new race name, we could have a new race leader here soon. Kian has started to close the gap there to Ty McIntosh. And Caden Tufts is actually putting Cooper Johnson under some pressure for the third spot. But those guys that always run up front and always contend for the win, yeah, they're there all year. But it's like the field, they hit a switch, right? If you make the playoffs, the chase-offs, whatever the heck we're going to call
Come on, dude, we just changed it.
We just changed it.
I
Come
said
on.
it first anyways. If we, if you make the chase-offs, then you do hit a different gear. You do race a little harder. You do try a little bit harder because there's a motivation there. It's like you're one of that elite bunch that are going to be racing for a championship. And as far as racing for a championship goes, we do have a battle for the lead. Kian's trying to hang around the outside of Ty McIntosh.
Well, there we see the battle for the lead. Kian trying to shoot the outside. Nothing doing as of right now. We'll see if he can get a run on into turns 1 and 2. The old 3 and 4. That's one thing I'm gonna definitely get mixed up here at Phoenix. Is that to me that's always 3 and 4 to me. And then start finish line would be right around where they're at. Well, we're at a little while ago. But Kian's still trying to fight for that lead, and that's where generally, you know, if you would have maybe seen these guys, the names highlighted in yellow last week, they could have been sprinkled more throughout the field. But right now, you know, out of the 16 chase-off guys, there's a good majority of them there in that top 20. Uh-oh, did we lose Matt? Matthew.
Well, I guess Matt is
Oh, there he
gone.
goes.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Microphone was muted. I don't remember
Oh.
pressing the mute button, but it was
Lead,
muted.
lead, lead.
Yeah, the only two guys not in our chase, not in the top 20. Alex Kenton, who slow start for his race, picked up a little bit of right front damage, but also Gilberto Javier Gomera. He's currently 25th, and that car's destroyed. He got that hit from Monticelli on the left, and you know I'm gonna go ahead and go back to the race for the lead here as it is picked right back up. Kian's gonna be way diving low onto the bottom here. He's gonna try and slide up in front, but I think Ty McIntosh might try to cross him back over.
Yeah, it seemed like Kian was digging pretty hard going into one. Now Ty's going to try to cut the apron there, coming across the start-finish line. See how hard he drives into 1 and 2. Looks like he's looking there, but I don't know if he's going to get it. Ooh, Kian pinching it close, and you know, there's a move there where you seen Kian shut the door there on Ty. That's something they probably wouldn't have done, wouldn't have risked it that much a week ago. But now we're in the chase-off. Anything goes.
No, we are only taking lap 16 of the first round of the postseason of the chase-offs, and these guys are racing like they're not even teammates. I mean, that was a fairly spirited battle for the lead this early, because you know Ty McIntosh. You know, let's face it, Kian is always running in the top 3. Ty McIntosh is not. Ty has generally ran well, but Ty knows he's got to fight for everything he possibly can. Any opportunity that he gets to run as high as he possibly can, he's going to take. So teammate or not, he's gonna race his butt off every situation he gets.
Yeah, that's one thing that's going to be interesting to see how this chase-off unfolds, especially with a lot of those Shift Esport S2 Racing teams kind of being sister teams, being competitors now for that playoffs, and now we see Cooper Johnson seeing if he can close in that gap right now. Actually, the two fastest cars in the top 5 are the 91 and 00, at least last time by. We'll see if that changed any bit this lap. Actually, Kian now laying down a pretty quick lap, running up front.
And you know, part of that might be line 2, because I was noticing as Keen and Tyler battling, they were both driving it in hard, washing up and diamonding it. I haven't seen Cooper Johnson come off that bottom line that much, so it wouldn't be, excuse me, talk a little bit. It wouldn't be shocking to me at all if Cooper Johnson's got a little bit more juice in that race car, at least more than the 10 in front of him does, because Ty McIntosh jumped out there and led those laps. It's fun to do, but it's not always good for the tires, although, you know, I say that, and their lap times were just about identical. As far as the fastest cars on the racetrack right now, it's actually Delicato and Leininger.
And it's easy because there's a lot of time that you're off the throttle here in both corners here at Phoenix, and sometimes if you get a little bit too antsy or maybe let the car roll a little bit too much, that could definitely affect your lap time. And, you know, if you're pushing off the corner or just being laying on the gas. But right now they're still running pretty relatively competitive laps. Maybe the one that's starting to fade a little bit is going to be that double zero of Caden Tufts, who's sitting there in the 4th position. He could be falling into the clutches of Indelicato, Leininger, and
my
hand. Ooh.
Goodness, Caden Tufts had to get out of the gas big time there. He almost pounded the wall. He does not hit the wall, but you see how much he had to get out of the gas. Nick Indelicato is going to breeze by him. He's going to fight for it back. He's going to have the advantage here off the corner. And Damien's been trying desperately to get by the 4 cars, so these guys are going to be under a blanket here for a second. They're all kind of trying to pass each other.
Yeah, this is again the battle for the 4th position, and you know, Caden kind of playing spoiler in the mix there among your top 5. He's the only guy in the top 5 that is not a playoff driver. There you see Dallas Myhand, another non-chase-off guy, up in the mix as well, having a good run, and for even like guys like Caden Tufts and Dallas Myhand, you know, they showed the speed. They were, I think, in positions to be in these chase-offs, but as far as missing too many races to be chase-off eligible, that's what kind of got them on the outside looking in. But these guys could definitely be the Eric Joneses or the Chris Bushers and play spoilers here as non-chasers, beating the chase-off guys.
Yeah, and while it doesn't look like it's totally realistic now, the top 5 guys all being chase offers. If you're running in the top, the way I see it, if you're running in the top 10, you've got a shot. I mean, you may not be up in the lead, but you are close enough up to the front where where a strategy can work your way. Because, you know, the guys on the ballsy strategies are going to be a little bit further throughout the field. If you're in the top 10 and you choose the risky strategy and it works out, you're probably going to be ahead of everybody else on it. So if you're close enough to the front, you can make it happen. And, you know, Myhand and Tufts, they definitely have the pace to win. I mean, did Caden win a race? I don't remember. I think Caden won a race.
I think Caden did win one race earlier in the season.
I know Dallas won a race in the postseason last season. So, I mean, I know that they definitely have the pace to win.
Yeah, they've been in victory lane before, but one thing I wanted to bring up to you. So you were speaking about strategy, and now we're 25 laps in. You know, the 75 lap half. So now we're basically in the fuel window. When do we think we start seeing guys short pit, kind of taking those gambles? Because we have seen this race obviously go green. Doing the math here, I bet you there's a bunch of crew chief spotters that are crunching these numbers. But when do you expect them to start that trend?
You know, I'm always going to give a complicated answer to this. It's never a simple answer. I can say your race leader, Kian, he's in a pretty easy spot. Whenever he sees guys start to pit, he's got enough of a gap over Ty where he can wait a lap for everybody else to pit. If you're in that top 5, you definitely don't want to be the last guy to the punch. If one guy pits, you got to go. And if you're further back in the field, you know, I'm thinking some of our chase guys that are off to slow starts tonight. Adam Peeler running 19th, Alex Kenton running 20th, Timothy Conrad running 22nd. I think maybe you short pit it and try to make something happen. And Cody McLean is actually diving down to pit road right now. And in the case of Gilberto, Gilberto's running 27th, actually just a few seconds away from getting lapped. I come early if I'm the 99 car, make up time on those fresh tires and hope for a late yellow, because the way it's going right now, he'll get lapped anyways. So there's my long-winded response on like the 10 different situations for the pit call here.
Yeah, it is a moving spectrum of when you want to pit. You know, if you, I think McLean overshot his pits just a little bit. But as far as Gilberto's concerned, yeah, maybe pit now.
He is on pit road now.
Okay, so he's on pit road, and that's the thing. You hope the green comes out right after they cycle through the pit stops, so he can stay on the lead lap and then potentially just come back down pit road, get that damage fixed. As you see a lot of damage on that 99, which again is affecting his speed. But and that's where that spectrum moves as far as if you want to pit this early or not. If you're a guy that's been burning the tires up. We've seen Dustin Dewar. He qualified up in I believe it was about the 8th position. He's fallen back to 13th. Maybe burnt the tires up a little bit. So it might be a good idea for him to hop down pit road a little bit earlier than the guys running in that top 5, who are kind of setting the pace, who could potentially wait a little bit. So it's going to be interesting now that window is kind of opened up with McLean and Gomera on pit road, which I think maybe a little extended stay for Gilberto, so maybe trying to get a little bit of that damage fixed.
Yeah, he's going to lose some time anyways, and the longer everybody else stays out, the better it's going to work for him. He's just going to have to hope that the caution falls, because if he has to go this last 40 laps on that set, it's not going to be a happy race car late in the run, and he will lose all that track position real estate that he's gaining by being on fresher tires right now. And just speaking of pit strategy, actually, you know what? I was going to say, speaking of pit strategy, my attention was caught by Caden Tufts being in 8th place. He was just up there racing for 3rd a little bit ago.
Yeah, he seemed like, just watching his times, he was one that was kind of fading the most out of it when he was running in the top 10. We did see two Indelicato and Leininger battling for that 4th spot yet. But he might be the guy. He might be the big candidate to maybe lead these leaders onto pit road, because we've seen him have top 5 speed, but maybe burnt those tires up. But again, it's a balancing act. I think we see Jordan Tarbell on pit road as well.
Whoa, contact and Gracie is spinning.
Stinky, no!
Wow!
Man, there's cars coming, and that's going to kill his chances for a good race. He was still hanging on to that top 10, but now he's going to fall all the way back into, I believe, the 18th position now, as you see Neil Rutt III get by, and probably burnt those tires up. Maybe those tires were screaming before that. So again, we might see some more guys, coming down pit road early. But the one thing I always thought, even when I burnt my tires up, if I did, so you're on lap 34, like you said, you're gonna have to go about that same distance now.
Yes.
On the backside of it. Can you do that? You got to know that you can and will actually race different than in the second half of this first half, I guess you'd say.
Just to mention it, Tarbell, Dewar, Conrad, all in pit road. Guys are starting to come down. I think it is the easiest call is to split the stage in half, or the race in half. I don't see many guys coming down pit road. I think as we're just now getting on to lap 35, I'm gonna be honest. I was keeping track of guys who are on pit road. I didn't entirely hear the question about racing the back half the same as the front half, but I don't think you do. If that was what you were talking about, even if it wasn't, this is worthwhile talking about. You don't race that second half the way you race the first half, because that first half, none of these guys in practice probably went more than 15 or 20 laps on a set of tires. We haven't had a caution, so they're on the set they started on. Now they know how they're going to run in the long run. They know what they need to do at the start of the run to prolong the life of the tires. Yeah,
it's definitely. I think you got to know how you can conserve the tires yourself, and you got to have that confidence that you can run the second half of the race here with on that same set of tires, and a lot of the guys that are coming down pit road too, we're about the guys we maybe thought would be the first ones down, the guys that are kind of in the back half of these chase-offs that really have nothing to lose. Oh, contact between Bracy and Kenton able to keep it straight. Wow.
Whoa, Damien just gave Indelicato the bumper. He almost turned him. Damien has been trying to pass the 4-car of Nick Indelicato for the last 20 laps. And after they almost made contact a lap ago, Damien drove it in and got to his left rear. And Indelicato driving it in deep. He's not done with the 12-car. He's almost taking a swing at him here.
Yeah, these guys are going at it hard for the 4th position. And again, I think this goes back to even what we've seen between McIntosh and Kean earlier in the race. These are moves that these guys probably wouldn't have made last week, even with each other. And now we see the 4-car come down pit road. Yeah, a bunch of cars. But with both Damian, maybe holding, and maybe Indelicato doesn't even hold up Damian that much if it was last week. Now that we're in the playoffs, it's again a whole different ball game. So you see that aggression ramping up, and we've seen it here tonight. But man, oh man, I still can't believe no caution as of right now.
You know, speaking to Indelicato, I mean, I can't believe I'm going to talk about him running fourth as a down race for him. But usually wherever that 4-car starts, he ends a run up from where he started. He started the race in second, but he was fourth there and barely hanging on to fourth. He got passed for fifth. So most of the time, if a car is running top 5, you're not going to say they're struggling. But we know what's to be expected of the championship favorite, or at least one of them. He is struggling right now. That's what you classify as struggling for him. And Damian, on the other hand, Damian was pressuring him, and he was patient, and Damian was able to pass him. So Damian's doing good.
Yeah, and one thing that Indelicato did do as well, he kind of led the group of top 5 onto pit road, as we do see the pit stops being cycled through at the moment. John Lynch, currently your leader here on lap 40 of 70. So be curious to see how this race is played out. I'm even looking at like Dewar, who was one of the guys that short pitted. He's currently running 18th. I think the guys that pitted, he's gonna be right behind like Damian, Indelicato. Seth Rawls, I think, just came on pit road as well. So he that definitely paid off in the short term. We'll see how this race plays out. But some of these guys that are staying out at the moment really got nothing to lose, and we see I think Gutierrez, Jones on pit road now as well. So a lot of these guys are going to cycle through eventually, but so these guys again taking their different chances. We see Peeler and Hill, I believe, staying out another lap.
I do like it. I like staying out as long as you possibly can, and the other good side to this is if you can avoid going a lap down and pit as late as you can, that caution does come out, your tires are considerably fresher than everybody who pitted at a regular lap, say the late 30s. I don't know if staying out is the best option, but you can take 2 tires and be almost as fast and maybe hold off the field. I mean, for Adam Peeler and Robert Hill, guys who have been fast when they needed to be, I think if they stay out as long as they can here and we get that late caution, I think 2 tires is a fantastic call for them because they can take control of track position through that pit cycle and have fairly good tires.
And especially if there is a caution as well late in the going. If there is, these guys, remember, they do have 2 sets of tires now. We started the season only having 1. So then I would assume at that point, whoa, Peeler. Ooh, did he make that?
Mate, I'm gonna go.
Well, he just right now crossed the cone, so the penalty if you missed it is hitting the wall.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's true. I was gonna do dun 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 dun. Peeler got busted. Wee wee. But I think he should be okay.
As far as if everybody here pits, and if it does go green, Kean will cycle out to the lead, and it's quite the gap back to Cooper Johnson. And Cooper Johnson's been good, but from what we've seen, passing has proven to be quite difficult. I mean, Kean put the Jets on and gapped Tyler by 3 seconds that lap run, but not before having to work him over for 5 or 6 laps. And it took just about the entire run for Damian to pass Indelicato. So it's going to be one thing if Cooper can somehow make up the 3.5-second gap, and then passing that 11 car is going to be a whole different challenge.
And there you see on top of the screen, now we see guys on different sets of tires. Dewar on a little bit older tires than Tepe and Caden Tufts. He's going to fall back into the 12th position. And man, that was a close gaggle of cars there for a minute. And Caden Tufts right now in that 11th spot, seeing if he can work his way up to the front. As again, he was battling in the top 5. I think right before those pit stops started, he was right around the 8th, 9th position once he came down pit road. But we still see Robert Hill Jr. 25 to go. He's got to be getting close to an empty tank, still holding on to that lead. So if a caution comes out, he'd be kind of sitting in a catbird seat right now. Well, I say stay the overlap, but the pit road. You and your microphone.
I don't know what's going on with it. The button fell out. Anyways, what were you saying? Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say if the caution comes out now, as long as Robert Hill can stay out, he's kind of sitting in the catbird seat here.
Yeah, no, I mean, he wasn't running. He started pretty far in the back. He wasn't running particularly well. I'd full commit to the strategy, and if you have to come down pit road, which he will, if we don't get the caution, he'll be able to put on fresh tires and go make up as many spots as he can. But as it stands right now, he looks like he will lose the lead fairly quickly. Kian is now just a couple seconds behind him. And that 11 car having to work through quite a bit of traffic here.
And yeah, it's gonna maybe close the gap for Cooper Johnson as well. But you know, even if Robert Hill, he's gonna run this tank just about empty here.
Yep.
So even if he loses the lead, you know, I would say a lot of the leaders at this point, if there was a caution coming soon, but I think we might be seeing that 05 come down pit road.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, he's really, oh my, he's really cutting the track.
Did he run it out? No, he looks like
he's just.
Power.
I didn't expect him to dive down that early. He cut all the way around the inside. I wonder if that helps him.
Yeah, that might gain you a little time, shorter distance around the track, and that of course will give the lead back to Kian Rally here with 21 laps to go here in half number 1. Again, just to note, look on the side of your screen. Top 10 cars will invert for half number 2. So half number 2 shaping up to be a whole different race because, as you stated, we've seen how hard it is to pass here on Phoenix.
You know, it makes you think. It makes you applaud the strategy call by some of those guys to come earlier. Ty McIntosh was running second before that round of pit stops. Him coming just 1 lap later resulted in him being 4th. Now 5th actually, as Damian is battling him, and they have a slew of cars in front of them, including Indelicato passing cars. But this might be a real interesting battle here for 3rd as my mind kind of races from one thought to the next. Damian got by Nick at the end of that last run, and Tyler is on 1 lap fresher tires than Indelicato. Not a huge difference, but this might be a bit of a spirited battle for the 3rd spot here in the closing stages of this one.
Yeah, it seems like he is digging it, trying to get back up in the top 3, especially knowing that gap that he had over Kian kind of dissipating once the start of this chase-off going on here. So, yeah, he's giving it all, trying to catch Cooper Johnson in that 91, who, again, painted the car black this week because he's going to be a little bit of that underdog role, he feels like, which, you know, 3rd in the points generally, you wouldn't say, hey, he's an underdog. But, you know, compared to how Kian and Indelicato have been running all season long, you know, I guess you could say, you know, everyone from probably 3rd on back could be considered an underdog.
You know, Cooper feels it. He's been up here in the booth with us a lot post-race because he's been finishing up at the front a lot. But I've heard him say it a few times this season. He's getting sick of running behind Indelicato and Kian. So for him, he definitely feels like an underdog. And underdog as he is, he's having a really impressive day here so far. Both he and Kian doing exactly what they need to do, running ahead of Indelicato. And I'm just going to say, especially Cooper Johnson, because, I mean, the 4 and the 11 car have been the cream of the crop this season. Cooper has just been a hair off of them. But right now, he is showing he is every bit a threat to the championship as those two are.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out as we still have 16 laps to go here in half number 1. And right now, field pretty spread out from the green flag pit stops. And, yeah, see, I mean, you know, again, we generally see, you know, a calm half and a chaotic half, and although it started chaotic in half, you know, in the beginning, first couple laps, but they're able to keep the preventing the yellow from coming out. But you know, especially with the desperation mode, because you might see, okay, I'm a playoff driver, you know, if I'm even Seth Rawls, Damian Landinger, I have the speed, but man, I just couldn't stay ahead of Indelicato. So do you start driving maybe a little bit more aggressively in half 2? Do you see maybe a little bit more chaos happening? Oh boy.
Oh, hairy moment there. And you know, I think that's always been the name of the game with OSCA. You know, the whole mentality of I have a bad first half, guess what? You get to do it again in the second half and try and make up some points. If not in the regular season, definitely now when your season's on the line. So yeah, you know, some of the guys who it didn't quite work out as well for, who are further back in the running, you will absolutely see more aggression out of them. They understand that they've got to keep all 4 fenders on it if they can, but, you know, you have a bad first half, you already are in a hole, you're already down points to those guys at the top of the board. They've got to go out there and make something happen earlier. If you fall too far behind early, it's really hard to climb back out of the hole.
Man, just seeing one of the strategies, we've seen Robert Hill, you know, he stayed out right till that gas tank hit.
Got to unlap
E.
himself.
Yeah, he's now going to unlap himself, and he's all the way back to where Damian is, and I believe Damian, about 3 seconds behind the leader, so it's still a long way to go for him to unlap himself. And so,
Ray Bracey just went a lap down.
Yeah,
After his good
Bracey,
start.
who had, that great start. We've seen him almost get into a couple incidents, and definitely has that pace, but maybe didn't do the best saving his tires here in half one. Maybe can pick it up in half number two. Ooh, Carpenter almost getting into the wall. We see Nathaniel Cherry. Usually we talk about him at least once during the race. We haven't talked about him much. Where's he running the order? Where can't
He's down
back
in
at 16.
16. I'm not going to speak much to his pace because I don't know how fast he was, but he was one of the guys that got smushed into the wall early on. Now, I don't think he got as much damage.
Yeah,
He's
Cherry
been able
got
to hang on. He's been able to.
Oh,
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that. He's been able to hang on to it a little bit better than Gilberto was, but certainly not helping him here.
Yeah, I feel like a high school kid giggling at that. That was good. I liked it.
I just said the Cherry got popped into the outside wall. What's wrong with that?
Nothing at all, man. Totally nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
not one thing.
it happens every day.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes.
But anyway.
I want to talk about some impressive runs here. Seth Rawls started 15th. He's up to 6th right now. Kynan Jones, how about it? Kynan Jones started 23rd. He's clawed his way back up to 12th, and that's really good for him because when you have that top 10 invert, he's going to be able to follow the guys who finish at the front of this thing. They're probably going to punch a hole for him to follow through. I mean, he's really setting himself up for a successful first round of the chase-offs here.
Yeah, and I think he also has some of the fresher tires amongst some of the guys that are ahead of him. He's still got a pretty big gap before he gets to catch Gutierrez and Adam Tepe, but definitely maybe with 9 laps to go, if his tires are still that good, maybe he can catch him. Although lap-wise, I mean, he just got done probably passing Dewar. It might be a tall order, but you never know. Those fresher tires could break him into that top 10. Because as it sits right now, Adam Tepe would be your pole sitter, and as you see his name highlighted in yellow, that could be huge for him in half number 2.
Oh, it could. Oh, it absolutely could. And these inverts, they always create chaos because the guys at the back at the top 10 that week, they are not as fast as the guys at the front of the top 10. So immediately, you have guys who are faster trying to get past guys who are fast but not as fast. So Tepe being ahead of all that, it's weird because you don't aim for the transfer spot or you don't aim for the second half pole spot because usually that's not a good finish in half one. But I think 10 is like perfect. If it's like a 5-car invert, it doesn't really matter much. If it's a 20-car invert, it's still not going to matter much. But 10, Tepe's fast enough to hold the lead if he can get it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he can even hold on to that transfer spot as Gutierrez is right on his tail and running quite a bit faster than Tepe at the moment. So that transfer spot could definitely change.
Yeah, both of those guys, chase-off guys, that is huge. Gutierrez, right now, the number one goal for him in his life right now is to get that 10 spot because that 10 spot is not just a point. It is a difference between starting next half 10th or next half 1st and next half 11th, and Tepe gets loose off the corner, and Gutierrez is diving under him for that spot. Tepe almost noses into him, and he's going to get it. Gutierrez now 10th, looking to start half number 2 on pole.
Oh, man. And now we see maybe even some of the strategies. I'm just keeping my eye on my buddy Dustin Dewar, now falling back to the 14th. We've seen him kind of maybe burn his tires up on his tire run and pitted early, and that strategy didn't pay off. That might be something to keep note as you see some of the guys. I think Kynan stayed out late. I think even John Lynch, he had to taken 2 tires. He might have taken your advice on that for a shorter time on pit road because he was one of the last leaders to pit. He's not in the chase-off here, but for coming down pit road as late as he did to still be in that 9th spot, I'm assuming he maybe took 2 tires. I'm just guessing there.
A real nice run for him, too. I mean, he was up at the front last week, and we talked about how Dallas Mayan and Caden Tufts can play spoiler. John Lynch, he's quietly stuck around the bottom part of that top 10 all day. Race car looks nice and clean. He hasn't been a part of any accidents or anything scary. He's just had a nice, quiet day running in the top 10, and I think he's going to be rewarded for it accordingly.
Yeah, and it looks like he'll be starting on the front row as of right now, once we do the invert for half number 2, but we still have 2 laps to go. And Kean still holding on to a 3-second advantage over Cooper Johnson, and Cooper Johnson still trying to hold off Indelicato here for that playoff point, and every point's going to matter. It's not going to be a big jump, a big gap for that 91, but I think the win will definitely, though, be huge for that 11 of Kean Raleigh, beating his teammate slash rival here in the chase-off, as we are on the last lap here of half number 1. And I think all that 11 car of Kean Raleigh has to do is coast to the checkered flag.
I mean, he had to fight for it early on, but once he took control of that race, he never looked back.
Never looked back, indeed. And coming across the line, Kean Raleigh is going to take the win here. Crossing the line, there it is. Kean Raleigh wins half. Were they trying to plan something?
No, do the audience a favor and go to Robert Hill for the last 2 turns of the last lap.
Oh, was he drifting it?
Oh, everybody's going to know exactly what it is as soon as they see it. I'll put it to you this way. Ray Bracey was about 2 car lengths in front of him for position.
Oh, did he try doing the Ross Chastain move?
I don't know. Go look for yourself. I mean, it was an attempt.
I'm trying to pull something up. Hold up. Oh, no, it went away!
Oh. It went away as we were getting down to the warm-up, and we will not be able to see it, but maybe have to watch Ross Chastain's move, the old video game move in a video game.
I mean, yeah, he did. He pedaled to the metal and drove it in. I don't think he was close enough to the wall, though, because when he drove it in, he was a little bit off the wall, and he hit the wall, and it killed his momentum. He might have been able to pull it off, but nonetheless, the strategy not quite working out for him. And do we have Kean in the interview waiting yet, or no?
Nothing as of right now. And there you do see the rundown here is Cooper Johnson second, Indelicato third, McIntosh fourth, and Damian Leininger rounding out the top 5. And then Gutierrez getting that pole with that top 10 invert, in the closing laps of half number 1. So he'll be starting up front. John Lynch alongside of him. So it's going to be a whole different ball game here in half number 2. And now we're under the lights as well, so the car is going to handle a whole lot different. This could be a whole lot of fun.
It'll be a little scary early in the race, because you saw, how they fanned out, and you saw some guys out of control. The theme is with the fresh tires, they don't have a lot of grip, and they take some time to get up to temp. These cars are already kind of loose off the corner as it is. So on the fresh tires, on the cold racetrack, it's going to take a couple laps to tighten up. Once it does tighten up, it should be really grippy in the middle, and it's going to catch them off the corner. So it's a completely different racetrack, given how dynamic the surface is of this track, how different it is at every different corner, and how strange it is at every part of every corner, and now the different daylight conditions.
It looks like we're seeing more cars out doing warm-up laps than we generally see in a week, but with that, we will bring in
Victory Lane.
Oh, he is parked in Victory Lane. Ooh, nice. That's classy move. We've seen you in Victory Lane upside down in practice, or is he upside down? No, he's right side up this time in the race in the warm up. But Kean looked like he had a dominant car, and again, we talked about timing of that momentum that you're starting to have, and none better to kick off this chase to beat the rest of the competition.
Yeah, guys, I'm not sure where that pace came from. Really, qualifying wasn't great. Practice was all right, but I don't know. It was really easy to go out there and put it on the same line lap after lap, and it just worked, and I was able to drive away and win.
Yeah, that's the thing. It looks like you were running a pretty consistent line. You've even seen probably between you and the 91, who did coincidentally finish first and second, we're running a very steady line up there around the racetrack the whole time. But now we're going under the lights here. Do you expect a lot the track to change a lot, or do you think it'll drive, I guess, relatively the same, where you can kind of pull the same driving lines and whatnot?
It'll be faster with more grip, but I don't think it'll stray too far from what we had in half 1. I think we're just going to have to do our best to keep everybody in one piece and on the track here. I'm going to be starting 10th, so I'm a little skeezed out about that, but I think it'll be pretty similar to half 1, just faster lap times and maybe the ability to pass a little bit better with it being less slippery, but I think it'll be fairly similar.
Yeah, it should be a fun one to watch too. And have you thought, we kind of seen the different strategies play out. Is there any you don't have to tell us what the strategy is if there is anything different, but is there any different anything you're kind of working on in the head after seeing what happened in half one?
Usually when the first race goes great, the second race doesn't mirror that. It's nighttime. A lot of guys have confidence from running 70 laps out there. So I think I'll just settle in where I can, try to finish ahead of the guys I have to finish ahead of, and whatever happens, happens.
Hey, that's about the only thing I think you can hope for, especially with the 10-car invert here. But with that, we'll let you get ready for half number 2. Your car does look pretty beautiful there in Victory Lane, but any shout-outs you want to give?
I don't have a whole lot of time, so we'll do the abbreviated version again. Of course, to all the guys that run the league, all the guys that broadcast it, Seth, and all of our sponsors, especially mine, Don AC Stock Car Racing, which just started their chase last week. They're on 3-Wide. They're right here on 3-Wide TV at 9 p.m. on Wednesday nights, and they run the next gen cars. It's usually a great product. Had a lot of fun racing at that beginning of the season, but yeah, that's all I've got for you guys. I've got to get in the car.
All right, go get them.
Thank you, guys.
You bet. And that was Kian Rally, winner of half number 1. And with that, I think it's time for some picks. And looky, I pick firsty. I'm not looking forward to this, but man, I think as far as picks go, I'm gonna go with Nick Indelicato. I like that spirited drive. He's gonna have the positions over that 91 and 11, and I think he's gonna go back up to the front again.
Carlos?
Huh. I have a feeling that.
He's got a feeling.
So here's the thing. I went to the bathroom. I just came back. What were the picks?
It was just me. It was just me with Indelicato.
Yeah.
We have 2 pace laps.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Leininger.
Ooh.
Hey, he looks good too, and he's starting ahead of Indelicato.
Ooh. I was gonna pick him, but every time I pick him, we know what happens. So. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna double down on him. It's always risky to pick the guy starting furthest back in the invert, but he did get me that win in round 1. So I'm gonna take my man Kian there and see if he can get me another W on the night.
You see what happens here. We do have some cars up front here that we haven't seen up front all night. We see that Mark Martin throwback of Gutierrez on the pole. John Lynch on the outside. That should be next time by
Is that Mark
getting
Martin
the green
throwback?
Flag. Yeah, I believe it's a Mark Martin throwback.
Are you sure it's not a Casey Mears?
It is. It's a Mark Martin throwback.
Oh,
trust
okay.
me.
Yeah, because I think the Mears was a little different, wasn't it? Could be wrong.
You guys both know better than me.
Why? Because you're not old.
Yeah.
How old are you though?
Yeah.
I'm probably
21.
younger than you.
I'm 21.
Never mind.
Old enough to drink. That's all that matters.
Never mind.
Pace cars off.
I know the mainstream Mark Martin paints. I couldn't tell you the more obscure ones. I know, the Valvoline one. I know, and the Viagra
That's
one. I know that.
it's when he drove the COT.
Yeah, it was,
Oh, yeah.
Number 5.
Oh, you guys are talking about Chris Gutierrez? I thought you were talking about John Lynch. I was like, that's not a Mark Martin. Yeah, I know that car. I was like 7 years old.
Oh, wow, man, that makes me feel old. And green flag is out on that note. And we're here getting ready for half number 1. And the Mark Martin throwback of Gutierrez, not John Lynch, out to the lead as the not Mark Martin throwback is in second. And trying to hold off Dallas Myhan. And, man, looks like your pick. Oh, caution's out.
Caution's out. It looks like Alex Kenton, Jordan Tarble, and Conrad involved in this one. And, oh, wow. Adam Peeler, huge damage to his car. He does not have a nose.
And a lot of these guys
That's
in
rude.
the chase.
He does not have a front end to his car. They need to clip it.
Oh, man. See,
Oh,
again, that
man.
heading up.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, weird. Like, Peeler got into the back of Neil Rutt, drove up the track, got into Kenton there. Man, there was a lot going on there.
The explanation in race chat from Peeler is I was trying to give the 0-3 room and I didn't think about this. That was the explanation given.
Well,
Right
that was a bold strategy, Peeler,
Well,
but
strategy, Cotton.
Cotton. Yeah, maybe he, I thought he was going to be like he was sniffing that bourbon, the wax that his him and his wife make. 'Cause
Oh,
that,
yeah.
yeah, with the Sugar Moon Creations.
They're
Ooh, hard
new flavors, not flavors, new scents.
Flavors.
Don't
I
eat them.
eat
Please do
them.
not eat them. New scents available.
Too late.
Yeah, I got bad news.
Oh boy.
On that initial start, I noticed something. Seth Rawls,
I'm proud of you, dude.
I don't know if he didn't get on the loud pedal. He was sleeping at the pedal. Not very Rocketman of him. Ironically enough, he did not take off at all. And Ty McIntosh ran into him, and Cooper Johnson in particular got some damage on the nose of that car. Delicado, Raleigh, and Leininger all got fantastic starts because they were all on the outside of that mess. But Cooper Johnson lost a couple spots on that exchange immediately.
Yeah, he's back in the 8th position, but you do see Damian Leininger worked his way up to that second
Yes.
spot right away. He was flying to the front.
He
And
was
now
huge. Oh, go ahead. Go
Oh
ahead.
no. Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, well, I guess as you were saying too, he took huge advantage of that chaos on the restart there, and with that pace that we've seen him have, he was trying to get by Indelicado, as you were saying, in half number 1. Now, if he can make quick work of Gutierrez here, that could be just what that 12 car needs, a little clean air, and could be good to go.
Let me say, he started 6th. But he started 6th, and by the time he got to the line, he was 4th. And as soon as he got to turns 3 and 4, as Damian does, he sent it. He drove it off deep into the corner, and the caution came out, and he had his nose peeked out in 2nd. It can't get much more perfect than that, and now he's lined up. I would say for sure the fastest car in this top 4. He could take the lead of this thing and put some serious distance between the 4, the 91, and the 11, and the 10 guys that we saw run up front for the majority of that first half.
It'll be fun, as we do have something we haven't seen in half number 1, a caution. So again, this whole strategy plays out a little different here. Got a little bit less of a race to go. The green flag pit stops maybe a little bit later on in the half, or maybe precautions potentially. We've seen how chaotic it can get on restarts.
Especially
we actually
here.
seen that in both halves, and here we go. Green flags out. Gutierrez is on that loud pedal. Great start for that 16. And John Lynch on the inside getting a good run on Damian as well. We'll see how hard. Oh, wow. And Delicado looking on the inside now, going into 3. But man, there's just almost anywhere you look, you're going to see a battle.
Yeah, speaking of, we're 3 wide for 2nd there.
Damian almost got in the outside wall there.
Oh, wow. You know what? Damian and John Lynch had a huge moment. Lynch slid up, and Damian was on his way down. They touched, and they are still touching. They touch again, and Delicado's going to
Caution.
That is huge.
Neil Rutt.
Caution is out.
Wow.
Now, man, now with all that chaos going on, we ran a couple laps of green flag racing there. Damian, kind of the loser, he falls back into 4th. But you look at Indelicado and Kian Raleigh, they've both moved up 5 and 6 spots apiece.
Oh, Neil.
Oh no!
Too much beans.
Too much beans. Oh, does he stay off the inside? Well, he does.
And that whole mess originated in turns 3 and 4. Leininger and Lynch made big contact coming off the corner. Delicado took the run down to the inside, and they were fine there. Damian drove it off deep, and they certainly didn't mean to touch, but I think Damian expected the 86 to go lower. They ran into each other, and not to mention, that's damage on Damian's left front there. Some fairly considerable damage, and he's got a lot. He's now the 11 car of Riley and McIntosh are right behind him. Things have changed very quickly for this 12 car. It was a chance to really separate himself from the rest of those front runners. He is now right in the midst of it.
And this is where, man, it's a tough spot to be in. We talked about Damian again having that damage. Cooper on that last caution getting a little bit of damage as well. Does it pay to come down pit road to get some of that fixed? But you're going to lose a lot of track position.
If this caution came out a little bit sooner, I'd say yeah. If we get a caution here and I say 7 or 8 laps, you're really, really riding the line on if you can pit or not, because you can make it 55 laps if you save, and if you save, you're going to lose a lot of time. I guess to answer your question in the first place, before I totally hijacked it and made it about fuel mileage, no. I don't think you can. It's not that much damage. They might not even feel it, but the fact of the matter is damage accumulates, and another light tap for them is going to mean a lot more than a light tap for, say, Nick or Chris up at the front of this thing right now. It'll hurt them more. But as it stands right now, Damien can drive a wrecked race car all he wants, and Cooper Johnson is plenty fast. It's not going to hurt him right now, I don't think, but it's definitely just more stuff you don't want to have to worry about.
Well, I'm worried about it.
Oh.
Well, I mean,
Well, you don't want to worry about it.
Right, you don't want to worry about it, but it's obviously something that's going to be on their mind moving forward here. But it is something that you got to deal with, and you got to pick the lesser of two evils if that's going to be staying out and dealing with that damage. Which it doesn't look significant enough to come down pit road, but definitely maybe a cause for concern moving forward, and maybe how they race, because it seems like maybe it'll tighten the car up a little bit. You got to be cautious about those tires a little bit more.
It could. It's a double-edged sword. Maybe you'll have to be a little bit more careful in the center of the corner, but maybe you've got a little bit more free range to wheel it up off the corner, not have to worry about burning that right rear. It changes. It might not be, if it's minor damage, it might not be for better or for worse. It's for worse because you might be trying to drive the car the same when, if you adapt your driving style a little bit, maybe you can keep up with the damage. I mean, it's a very dynamic situation, although I say if they have a caution in 6 or 7 laps and they're the only guys that come down pit road, put 4 tires on it, take the damage, and see what happens. If everybody comes down pit road, you put tires on it and don't take the damage. Just if they're going to the back anyways, take the damage and put themselves off cycle.
Yeah, we'll see how this one will play out. It'll be interesting to see if they can hang on to it.
You've got Damien restarting behind Nick and Delicato. He's been looking at the same rear bumper for the better part of an hour at this point.
Yeah, see if his patience runs short, if he can keep up on the back bumper of that 4 car, and we'll see if Indelicato can get as good of a restart. We see Gutierrez get a great jump last time. See if Indelicato can have anything to say about that, as we're going down the backstretch one last time here, getting ready to go green.
In a wheel spin, everybody gets it going nicely. We've already seen quite a bit of chaos in that department.
Oh yeah, in either way, we're going to see a lot of cars fanning out here as the green flag is out. Gutierrez getting a great jump again. Maybe not as good as last time. John Lynch staying on that back bumper. Cars fanning out on the apron, as we do see every time at Phoenix. But the best thing right now for Gutierrez, he's the only car single file in the field.
Yeah, and it looks like, oh wow, John Lynch is going to clear Indelicato off the corner. Barely, but Indelicato's coming right back under him to try and take that spot, and he's got a mirror full of Kian Riley and Damien to his outside. This is fantastic stuff for Chris Gutierrez with how hard it is to pass.
And damage on the left front of Damien. What damage, Damien says? He's wheeling that thing like there's nothing happened. Nothing's wrong. Me fine.
Me fine. He's still here somehow. And as you see, I mean, even the damage on Lynch's car, Lynch gets a good run off that corner, and Delicato was not able to complete the pass.
Yeah, and out of those 3 cars, he's the cleanest one of them all, but as we've talked about, the theme, kind of the new theme here, how hard it is to pass on this racetrack. And you can see how much lower Indelicato goes on the apron, can't get that advantage over Damien. As Damien's going to get a good run off the corner, he might be able to clear that 4 car.
He will, and Indelicato's going to tuck in line. Normally his teammate would just let him be there, but we are now racing for a championship, and Kian is going to dive under Nick, not cutting each other an inch this time.
No, not at all, and now Kian's going to be underneath. Maybe see if he cuts across the apron.
Not just Kian.
McIntosh, wow.
And Delicato sails it up into the corner, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know how that worked, but he clears him.
Wow, he's digging hard to try to stay in front, and I know these guys are usually fast, but you can tell they are digging harder, probably wearing out their tires more than we've seen them in the regular season as we have in this little bit of a chase off that we've had here in round 1.
Yeah, this is as hard as I've had to see as I've seen that 4-car have to race all season long. I mean, nothing has come easy to Indelicato this season, but he has not spent a single lap in the top 3 tonight, aside from the various restarts we had early on in this race. And he's having to go and chase Lynch and Leininger, and part of it's because it's hard to pass, but that dominating speed you usually see from the 4-car is not there to start this one, despite the strong finishes. He's having to work for it, and real shout-out to everybody around him for showing up tonight and putting on a show.
Yeah, they're putting on one hell of a show. We've seen the in-car camera here of Ty McIntosh, and of course, he was one of the cars that was in that 3-wide move just a little bit ago. He's tailing Kian, trying to see if Kian can work around Indelicato. I'm sure he's going to be right there to take advantage.
It's going to be fun here. Is as good as Chris is doing right now. It's only a matter of time before Damien catches him. Damien is just barely chipping away at that lead every lap, and we've seen Damien how aggressive he's willing to be to pass a race car, let alone in the chase-offs here for the lead. He's still just inching ever so close. I think maybe in about 5-10 laps here he'll be there and take some shots at it.
Yeah, even looking at the top 5 again, man, if I was his crew chief, I was going to call him down pit road, and he's one of the faster cars in the top 5 that previous lap, not this time by, but the last lap. A lot of those top 5 running virtually identical laps. Even our race leader Gutierrez, who again finished 10th in half number 1, currently holding on to that lead and just showing how clean air can pay off. But he does have that 12 car hounding him now. He's going to dive aggressively on the apron, and he's going to be there. He's closed that up, and it's no longer about how many seconds or whatever behind. He's under a car length.
You know, just to give shout out to them real quick, Nathaniel Cherry and Dylan Thomas not getting good finishes in that first half. Cherry started 16th. He's currently in 10th. Dylan Thomas started this race 25th. He's up to 13th. So with those guys not having damage on their race cars, moving their way up to the front, as Damien goes way low on the racetrack, he is going to get to the quarter panel of Gutierrez, and he throws it in there. He's going to wash up. I think they might have touched.
Ooh. So much happening. I'm freaking out. But yeah, you couldn't have stuck a piece of paper between them. And
that was a lunge.
Gutierrez, yeah, Gutierrez holds on to that top spot. But I think we're going to see Damien do the same thing he just did on that last lap. And what it's definitely doing, it's forcing Gutierrez to run a different line than I think what he's used to in 1 and 2 here.
Oh my goodness, the way Damien runs it. He's scaring I mean, part of it is, you remember last week when Kian tried to make the move for the win and he tried to jump scare passing for the lead? It's the same thing. Damien's driving it in there and coming up, and he's like, oh, I'm at your door. It's got to be scaring Chris.
Yeah, don't tell Damien that Halloween was, a couple days ago. He missed that opportunity. He's trick-or-treating with Gutierrez for that
and
lead.
You know what? He's going to clear him here. He's going to slide up in front of him, but Chris is going to cut back under him.
This could be a slide jump crossover move. Gutierrez now underneath. Coming out of
Damien's tight. Damien's in the wall.
Oh,
No!
Man, that's huge. And after all that, you look at Indelicato taking advantage.
Oh, contact! Indelicato washes
No,
up the track and Damien out of the way. Damien losing spots.
Oh, man, and he's going to drop a couple spots now in the 5th position. And I wanted that little bit of hip check from Indelicato.
Oh, no!
Trouble!
John Lynch cautions out. Oh, McIntosh gets damage in the front. Oh, T-Bone with Nathaniel Cherry as well. So, man, oh, man. And speaking of Halloween, maybe it's not Halloween anymore, but maybe we have a full moon because those guys were running like
that
mad
was
out there.
That was a microcosm of Damien. I mean, he was racing his ass off for the lead, fun to watch, hit the wall a little bit, and in the end, I don't think that was anything he did. It looked to me like the 11 car got a little bit tight, washed up into him.
Oh, man.
It got into the 86, and it just...
Yeah, and that damage with McIntosh was a harder hit than I initially even thought. That was significant damage to that 10 car. Everyone coming down pit road, by the way.
Yeah, definitely some time to take some of that damage from McIntosh. Seth Rawls.
Just a T-bone hard.
It wasn't as cool as I thought it was, but Seth Rawls did just barely get it woed up.
And he's now coming on pit road in the 6th position as Gutierrez still leading the field onto pit road. See if he can win that race off. I hear someone getting a pit box violation, which he was saying, which I agree. That iRacing now has the update where they tell you how many pit boxes you are away, and I think that number is always way off.
It might be the 11 of Kian.
Nobody's getting a penalty right now.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
looking.
Okay.
Tim
so
Conrad
now
stayed out.
Stayed out, and did Dewar take 2 tires?
Oh, Dewar
Dewar
definitely.
7.3 second pit stop.
Wow.
Oh.
Mix
Did
it
Dewar
up.
take tires? I don't know.
Oh, you see
Conrad
Conrad
pit
coming
road.
down pit road, huh? So he
Dewar
did
didn't
leave.
even take tires. Dewar took gas only.
Maybe saving the set. I don't. Ooh, that's
That's an interesting one.
an
I mean,
interesting
why
call
not?
there. Yeah, you know he's trying to get that track position. We've seen what happened with Gutierrez getting to that front, which, man, a tough pit stop for Gutierrez, where he came in as the leader. Now he's going to be dropped back to 5th, and you know even if Dewar didn't do his pit strategy, he would have fallen back to that 4th spot. So he would have lost 3 positions on the racetrack. That was not a good pit stop for that 16 car.
You know, my heart really goes out to John Lynch. He looked good last week, and this week he was looking really good up there. He wasn't really showing much pace fall off. He was up there really putting it to the big dogs that have been running up front every week. He looks like he belongs up there, same as last week. He's just, I mean, there's damage on that race car. He finished 9th in the first half. He's not going to have the points night he deserves, but it's been real refreshing to see him perform so well.
You see Dewar coming back down pit road, so maybe he had a case of missing the pit box as well. Got that lap lead as well. He was hoping his car's camo. He's hoping no one could see him.
Didn't quite
We
work.
saw
I think
him.
that big orange stripe gave it away.
Yeah.
You know what was real camo? Last week, I forgot who it was, but somebody was literally orbiting another driver, and it right in front of us, and I didn't see it.
Kian,
was there a
his science
camo?
project.
Oh yeah.
Orbiting,
Orbiting the moon.
right?
Was
Is
there,
that
a
what
car,
you're talking about?
was there a car ahead of him? Wait,
No, it's just somebody
You know what
was
you're talking about?
constantly going around in circles in front of a driver under caution.
yeah, that was Kian.
Yeah.
I think
He
he's saying it was camo because he just missed it completely.
Yeah, I'm just
Oh.
saying, like, yeah, that was, like, in front of us, and I missed it.
You missed it? What were you doing? Were you chasing butterflies or something?
It might as well have been.
Hey,
fair enough.
interesting. Damian picking the outside on this restart, trying to pin that 4 car on the bottom with his teammate right behind him.
Yeah, that's the first time we've seen this all night, and that will give that outside a puncher's chance, especially once Damian's gonna hit that loud pedal.
You know, the funny thing, it puts all 4 Shift Esports cars in line on the bottom, and we've seen that top line has been the passing lane. So Damian really putting a rival team here in a rough spot. If he and Chris and Cooper can get going on that top side, it sounds like I'm talking like Daytona, but the outside's been the passing laner, and I think I like the move by the 12 car.
See, and green flag is out, and that was curious.
Come on!
Wait, was Damian the leader, or was Indelcado the leader?
I just broke into a cold sweat if that answers your question.
Oh
By
boy.
completely botching the call for the restart.
Oh,
Damian
wow.
and Seth.
Oh, wrecking in the back, wrecking in the-
Oh, spinning. Oh, Chris
Oh,
and Dylan
Gutierrez!
Oh, it's a disaster for Gutierrez.
Caution.
Somehow,
tie.
somehow he locked it down.
Oh, Brett Jones hard to the inside wall.
Woo, boy.
Oh,
Okay.
Get. Oh boy.
This was pretty much all of us here right before that restart occurred.
I mean,
Everybody on track, off track.
oh man, and Cooper Johnson took a big lick to the nose
What
there.
was
He was
it?
the guy that turned Chris Gutierrez.
That was Peeler.
Who had
Peeler
the
said it.
Peeler? Okay, I was gonna say who had the view to watch.
Oh, it was definitely.
Oh man. Oh, Peeler did have. Oh man, Peeler had his modified. He had a ride there through that wreck. As we've seen, if you've seen the modified out on the track, he's requested to watch his onboard camera. He says he has the view. Hey, he still got a hood. Hey, and oh boy, oh Brent Jones, he was spinning like a top.
Timothy Conrad had to get on the brakes, and he was on them the whole straight. He just barely got it wound up to avoid the spinning number 89 car careening across the racetrack.
Yeah, and this
Oh man!
this backstretch here now, it's like a bowling alley. There's just not a lot of places for these cars to go. with the inside and outside wall. Kind of like maybe an Indianapolis front stretch, or maybe some of you guys who are old enough to remember when Atlanta used to be like a Homestead Oval, and the straightaways were about this tight, and the same things could happen there. But that's I'm dating myself quite a bit there.
I'm proud of
The-
you.
the-
It's time for you to
the-
finally come
the-
on
the-
the show.
Yeah, the OG configuration of Atlanta.
A lot
I
of
think
our.
Now they're on
Oh,
Gen
go
3.
ahead.
Oh, I was just saying Gen 3, their current version, the Super Speedway version.
Chase guys caught up in that. Cooper Johnson received some nose damage. Chris Gutierrez was in it to a smaller extent than I thought he would be. Ty McIntosh, Kynan Jones, significant damage. Gilberto and Bracey got a piece of. I mean, we're looking at like about a third of our playoff or our chase-off field there. Got a piece of that one.
Yeah, it's gonna be with a lot of damage. I mean, Gutierrez is probably the one that I think that was the least who got any damage on that. Cooper Johnson didn't really see. Was that damage from before? Or did he actually get new damage from?
No, Cooper Johnson, that is new damage, and that is a fairly significant hit that he took to the front of that race car. I'm going back on my monitor real quick to try and find it, but that's I think that's definitely going to hurt him. It'll tighten him up. As a matter of fact, he's the one that sent Chris Gutierrez spinning, because what happened was Chris wasn't loose at all. He saw the 12 car get about 45 degrees sideways, and Chris jumped on the brakes, and Cooper did not see it coming. Ran straight into the back of the 16, and he took a pretty good lick to the front of that car.
Oh boy. So a guy who finished second in half number 1. He's currently in that 6th spot, but he's going to have some of that damage to deal
Who's
with.
up front now?
Yeah, and Delicado. How about
And-
that?
And
And
Kian.
Kian.
Those guys
Bob,
that
can
raced
you
for the
believe
lead
this?
both
Riley's
had
going to
last
choose
week.
the outside lane.
Okay. all right. You know what? I like choosing the outside lane. Maybe my brain wanted to believe somebody was doing something different. Okay.
You know what? The sad thing is that I was all in. I bought it, even though I
I
knew
bought it too!
You know what?
Yeah.
You guys,
We all bought it,
yeah. You're just as bad as I am.
Yeah, we could have corrected you minutes prior, but
You know what the worst part was?
what's
Race
that?
Control believed that you were right.
I got right. Hey, you know what? I was embarrassed. I'm pretty damn proud of myself now.
You fooled everyone. So obviously you did not give us the treat for Halloween. You gave us the trick, a little
Of course,
post Halloween
Damien.
trick.
You know, Nick's gonna go back and watch this and be like, "What is he talking about?" Like,
What
Damien's
is
not
going-
picking anything.
Maybe that's what people were watching at home were thinking as
You're
well.
like, what is this guy talking about?
As the inside line of Indelicado will lead him to the green, we are back under green flag racing here, coming to lap 33 of 70. And Indelicado gets a great jump this time. A little less confusion here as well. It looks like things staying a little bit cleaner this time going through turns 1 and 2. And man, I'm looking at Kian. It looks like Kian on the corner exit. Look like he's closing that gap on that 4 car. He's got more pace.
And you know when Delicado's got the lead right now, but Kian drove away from the field entirely in that first half, and Delicado was barely hanging on to 4th by the end of that first run. So I think it's fair to believe that the 11 car is the guy to beat in this race, and Nick is going to have his hands full to the end of this thing, keeping Kian behind him. If he can.
If he can, and we've seen how hard Indelicado has been driving all night here, trying to keep that 11 car at bay. But can he do it? We're about halfway through this second half. And Gutierrez and Robert Hill almost getting together as well. Coming out of the corner. Now they're fanning out on the apron.
Damien has gone nowhere, along with Seth staying close in 3rd. Damien, despite that slide, still 4th place. That 12 car is just about as quick as that 4 car here. I mean, I think the 12 Damien could still have a good shot at winning this thing.
Need him to do better.
Early to say, but
Last time they all ran a lot of their fastest laps. And well, yeah, Carlos definitely hoping.
Carlos is beckoning you to do better.
Yeah. You just let Damien know that I was the one, or I'm not the one who picked him, so he doesn't have to wreck or do anything stupid now. So.
You see this top 5 here starting to separate themselves. Cooper and Dylan having a little bit more damage on their race cars being involved in that accident. It's 5 cars just about nose to tail at the front.
Yeah, and those you see Cooper and Dylan just trying to hang on, trying not to burn those tires, and it looks like, how about this, Seth Rawls? he's looking a little racy there in third. He's peeking his nose out. And again, if if Indelicado and Keane get side by side, Rawls could be a benefactor in that as well.
You know, he's got a little bit of damage on that race car, but let's not forget, he started that first half in 15th, and that race went green the entire way. He drove his way from 15th up to 6th, 70 laps running green. So maybe he's got enough pace in here to go up and win the thing. We haven't seen him run in the top 5 yet. Here he is, keeping right up to the back end of the top 2.
Kynan.
Caution.
The Land Shark. Heavy contact to the outside wall.
Oh, that car is destroyed.
Yeah,
that
it looks like
bad.
Look at this, almost
Oh, it was a dog leg incident with Timothy Conrad here.
Oh.
Dog tracking. Oh. Yeah, and even Conrad kind of said that was not the best time to make the pass there, making that contact.
You know, speaking of
chase
time,
drivers.
it's decision time here. All these guys have one set of tires left, and we're going to have about 26, 27 laps to go once we take the green flag here.
But,
oh,
you know,
we have a split decision, maybe. No, Dylan's coming. Hey, Dylan, yeah.
Dylan Thomas leading him out on pit road. About the back half. Some guys choosing to stay out.
Conrad, Gutierrez, Peeler, and McIntosh, all guys whose races have been extremely impacted by damage at this point. I like this move for them. They can come fix their damage since they all need to fix damage and they're losing their track position anyways. They'll take a set of tires here. They'll be fast on the green flag run. If this goes green to the end for them, it could work out nicely for them. And on the same note, if we have a caution at the end of the race, they're going to stay out because they don't have any more tires.
And that's the thing here. You know, it depends on how these obviously half number 2, we have our 5th caution of the half, and the first half went caution free. So the trends say another caution more than likely going to come out here in half number 2. And if we do see our leaders come down pit road, especially if we don't get a lot of green flag laps on these tires, that could definitely be the winning move.
Exactly. That's what I was going to get to next. You hit it right on the nail. If we keep having you hit the nail right on the head. If we keep having cautions, it's going to be a huge beneficiary to the guys who are coming down now. Because, you know, if we have 3 more cautions and we get to lap 60 and guys pit, you know, for that matter, it might not be worthwhile to pit that late. It's hard to say. You don't pit now. When are you going to pit? Because when you do come down to take tires, there's probably not going to be that many laps left. And we had enough guys come down there for there to be a lot of cars to pass for only a little bit of laps. It puts our leaders in a really tough spot.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how this plays out because, and I think a lot of these guys, if that happens, if we do have a lot of cautions, I see guys like Indelicado, Rally, and Rawls, Leininger, for that matter, probably stay out, keep that track position, and hope they can hang on to it. But even guys in the back half of this, Cooper Johnson with that damage, Adam Tepe, Gomera, and Dewar, those might be the guys that have a real tough decision to make if they can hold off the guys that came down pit road this time, or if they feel more beneficial to come down pit road. So there's definitely a lot more jumbling up that could happen.
They are first car on tires. Neil Rutt came down and took what appears to be left side tires. Adam Peeler is going to be the first car on 4 tires. He does not have any nose on that race car. I have no idea how fast it's going to be. But I really like Chris Gutierrez because all of Gutierrez's damage in that wreck was on the back end of the car. The front of that car is still clean. I don't know how fast he's going to be. But in the end, he's the first car on 4 fresh tires. And the fact that he's 13th. I mean, if these guys up in the top 12 want to pit later in the race, there's going to be a lot of cars they've got to pass.
Yeah, it's going to be a long haul to go back up to the front. We'll see how it plays out. We're 1 to go to green here, and see how this is going to shape up. We still got a lot of racing left here in half number 2. Indelicado holding on that lead. He's going to try to hold off Kean Rally, who does definitely have the pace here tonight. We see it in half 1.
And Nick is the leader.
Nick is the leader, and he has Seth Rawls on the bottom. See if he gets a jump and maybe get advantage on that 11. We'll see as we're back under green flag racing. Indelicato getting a great jump. See Seth Rawls can cut down the track enough to keep side by side with his teammate going into 1 and 2. Oh boy,
Damien's
he
got
watches
that-
up the track. Ooh.
Yeah, and Damien's got the top side on Seth. The 12 car is going to get a run off, and Seth is going to have his hands full with the 12 car for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, let's see if we see Seth Rawls kind of pull the same moves Damien did, trying to run that bottom line.
Oh,
How he gets there, how he
no!
gets
He gets into him. He sends the 12 sliding. Damien saves it again.
Wow.
The track position.
Yeah, he's
I
gonna
think that-
fall. Oh boy, back into the 5th position,
I'll say on,
just ahead of Dustin Dewar.
at least on my screen, that can be chalked up to netcode. But still, doesn't matter what caused it. That's huge for Damien.
Yeah, he's got a lot of ground to make up. But one guy who doesn't have a lot of ground to make up is that 11 of Kian, who is right on the back bumper of Indelicato yet, and maybe think he's maybe biding his time trying to save his tires a little bit.
I think you've got to save him. You've got to be careful. You've still got room back to Adam Peeler, who, by the way, Adam Peeler driving the absolute wheels off of it right now. Adam's up to 10th right now. I don't know with all the damage he's got on that car if it's going to make that big a difference, but you've got time right now. You can't use up all your stuff. There's 25 laps left. If this goes green, you need to have something at the end of the race to fight with, although Kian's not letting him save. Kian is hounding the back of his teammate, making sure he keeps it on the loud pedal.
Yeah, he's definitely putting the 4 car on notice at the moment, as we see Adam Peeler without that front bumper trying to work his way up just inside the top 10 right now, trying to chase the other chase-off contender, Robert Hill Jr. right in front of him. And you look at the top 10 right now.
Oh, no!
He's going to send him around. He's going to send him spinning.
In the wall! Robert Hill stayed green so far. I believe Robert Hill saved it. But a lot of damage, I think, is going to be had on that 05 car of Robert Hill. Now we have a caution.
My hand!
Dallas
Dustin
Myhan goes
Dewar!
around.
Oh, Dallas Myhan was running in the... Oh, something happened to Dallas. He was running in the top 4 a little bit ago. He got behind Damien, and... Oh, that is massive for Dewar. Dewar's junk, man.
Oh,
wow, he got in the air.
ooh.
Dewar got
Oh,
in the air.
no!
Oh, no. Dusty Dewar. Oh, wow. Dewar not happy over the driver's chat. Usually a very subdued driver. Making some comments about this wreck here. As Mayan looked like he was trying to go over Damien. Couldn't make that move. Ooh, kind of pinched him down.
The corner before, there was contact between Dallas and Dave. Damien was quicker than Dallas trying to get by him. Damien did that move again where he drives it in super deep. He washed up completely into Dallas. Dallas had to get out of the throttle big time to keep it out of the wall. It was in 3 and 4 there. You see the 12 car really dives it in deep and opens up the door for Dustin, and I don't think Dallas knew Dustin was going to be there.
Yeah, it kind of, that wreck kind of reminded me.
Leaders on pit road. All of them.
Oh, wow. I think Damien's the only car.
Except,
Damien.
yep. Whoa!
That's huge. Ooh, and then
Yeah,
the race
everyone's
off
done
between
pit
the 4
road
and the
except for Damien, Adam, Chris, Dylan, Dave, Jordan, Timothy,
I
Ty.
said leaders. I said leaders, Acosta.
11. But, you know, that last wreck, though, I do have to say, this is taking me back a little bit, not too long. Back when Alex Bauman was first filling in for Dale Jr., and he was
Oh, yeah.
the race at Phoenix.
Matt
And I believe it
Kenseth.
was Matt Kenseth put him kind of in that inside wall. It looked very similar there.
It did look similar. That's a good callback. It did look similar.
But now Damien
you
up
guys
front.
are talking about that wreck. You know who I'm most impressed with? You guys haven't mentioned it, but I'm super impressed with scissor enthusiast Adam Tepe.
With
I just wanna
what
let you know that.
enthusiast?
He's
Yeah,
a
hold up.
scissor enthusiast.
Did he pay you to say that?
No, I came up with it myself.
Yeah, he is. That
What
car
is a
actually-
scissor
excuse-
enthusiast?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to know, but I can tell
Maybe
you.
off
I like it.
broadcast we'll find out, huh? How's that sound?
It might be best.
It's a reference to
God.
All Elite Wrestling, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass.
Caddy,
if you've
what?
seen his car at
Yep,
if you've
yep.
seen his car at Long Beach,
Caddy,
you would understand why he's
Yeah,
a scissor
and
enthusiast.
and that fits that 96
Either way,
car
like I was
routine.
saying, I was super impressed with him because he's been a 15th place car all night, and he was running in 6th and 7th position all last run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think the more important thing, that car looks clean.
Exactly.
And that could be a huge payoff as we are getting to the closing stages here in half number 1. And now our leader, who is Damian Leininger in the 12 car, Matthew,
like
he
it.
is choosing that inside line.
There's a lot to unpack here. It's risky. It's a huge risk by Damian, but you've got to take the risk. That 4 and the 11 car at this point in the race, they seem like they're a tick faster than Damian. If he comes down to pit road with them, he's just behind a bunch of guys on fresh tires. And they're not on that much fresher tires than the cars in front of them. And maybe Damian feels with the wounded race cars around him, even on older tires, he can still hang on. I mean, I don't know how it's going to work out because we've got 3 different strategies going on at this point with Damian going completely off cycle. The thing for me is they only ran a few laps on that set, but for the leaders, if they wait too long to pit, they're not going to have time to make their tires work. So whatever extra grip they've got, they're going to use it now because Indelicato in 8th, he's got his teammates right behind him who have been right on him. Cooper Johnson, Adam Tepe's been fast, as Vic mentioned. They're all going to be on top of each other and trying to fight through the field and go after the leaders.
And I'm going to be curious to see how Peeler does in that Sugar Moon Creations Chevrolet there without a front bumper as we are back green. Yeah, great jump there for Leininger. That's exactly what he needed as Gutierrez now moves into that 2nd spot. So Peeler without that front bumper, you can definitely tell it is hurting him at the moment. But
teammates! Kian Rowley has turned his teammate!
Oh,
Wow!
caution, bumper for Indelicato. So wow.
Oh my goodness. And you know what caused it? Kian Hail Married it all the way down to the inside, made it 4 wide, got in front of them. He was getting held up by the 71 of Carpenter. He was trying to inch up there, and he just turned his teammate barely. That is a disaster for Nick Indelicato.
And Tarbell got involved as well. Yeah, and you see, it's just that fanning that happens on these restarts, getting boxed in, maybe panicking a little bit. Yep,
That's exactly what it was.
Just getting up and right in front of the whole field, and luckily that wreck wasn't worse. Uda Bracing get a little contact there as well from Tarbell getting spun around.
So Tim Conrad did a fantastic job just hanging his line and not freaking out there. He just about touched doors with Kian and ran into Nick. Oh, we jinxed Tepe hard.
Oh no.
Oh, we totally jinxed him. I feel terrible.
Well, if there's
He's not junked, but he's got damage now.
Well, if there's anyone to jinx, it's that 96 car. I'm just saying.
But can we talk about the implications this has on the rest of the season?
Boy.
I mean, that's going to be. I'm not looking forward to jumping back in that. I'm not. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to need a stiff drink after this one. To deal with whatever that's going to be. You know, Kian didn't mean to do it, but you know how much it's going to benefit him because that 4 car probably going to be his toughest competition for the championship, and Indelicato now in a big hole.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. There you see the point standings coming into tonight, with Indelicato only having quick math in my head about is that 4?
I think Raleigh might have closed up that gap in the first half with the win, and Nick finishing. Where did Nick finish?
Finished 3rd.
Finished third, yeah. So maybe not quite, but as they run right now, Nick Indelicato.
Well, not factoring in bonus points, that would have tied them.
Yeah, wow. So yeah, you see Kian is set up in 8th place right now. Doesn't quite have it won yet, but he's set up to have a decent shot. Although Kian's got some damage on that right rear now. I don't know how much that's going to affect him. I don't really know if it works out. You know who it works out great for Cooper Johnson. Cooper Johnson got by all that. Cooper is now in 6th place. We'll be restarting on the outside, and we'll be the first car on 4 fresh tires, I believe. Yeah, it worked out great for Cooper.
And probably got maybe a little bit of that damage fixed as well that we talked about him suffer from. And that's the thing, with Cooper Johnson, early on in the second half, we were talking about how he was the guy that was in trouble with the damage on his race car, and depending on how this all shakes out as of right now, though, he could be one of the biggest benefiters from how this chaotic second half has been.
So far, it's still Damian. I mean, he jumped
Oh,
out to
yeah.
that lead. I mean, we haven't seen how the tires are going to hold up, but he shot out of a cannon on this restart. If he can keep getting restarts like that, leaving these guys back here to battle with each other, it might not matter how things go for Cooper Johnson. There's a lot of ground to cover for him and Kian to try and go up and take that race lead.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one to watch these last 15 laps, and the chaos might not even be done. It's definitely with some of these guys getting desperate, trying to capitalize on the 4-car spinning. They could be the ones next being junked, and the 4-car could capitalize by dodging some of these wrecks if they do happen.
It's worked to perfection for Peeler and Gutierrez. Gutierrez been quick. Peeler started off the season with a win. He faded a little bit throughout the season, still had good results, and look at where they're running now. Not a lot of difference in the tires. They've got the track position at the end of the race. Huge opportunity for the guys in second and third here to make a dent in those points leads for the guys at the top of the board.
And they look like they have cars that race at your Saturday night dirt track.
Yes.
But we'll get the green flag here with 14 laps to go. Damian on the loud pedal. We're green. And another great start for that 12 car. Gutierrez gets a pretty good jump on the top. But we see where Peeler went. There he is. He's on the inside. He holds on to that second spot for now. And they almost pinch each other up in the wall. Running everybody running a higher groove. Entering turns 1 and 2. And now Kian trying to take advantage of his track position, trying to work his way out with those fresh tires. Moves up into the 5th position. That 11 car, in spite of that damage, still looks pretty quick.
I think Kian's definitely, and Kian's actually under Cooper Johnson. Seth Rawls throws his name into the hat. 3 wide for the chasers behind the old tires. Cooper Johnson shooting around the top side. Dylan Thomas
4 wide, 4 wide!
In the wall. They're 4 wide down the straightaway. Damian Leininger is running away with this thing. I don't think they're going to
Contact!
Cooper spinning. Cooper and Peeler are spinning. There's cars flipping in the back of the turn. 2 separate crashes.
Gutierrez. Oh, man. Peeler is getting ping-ponged. Oh, Gamera involved as well. And chaos. Oh, no.
There were 2
Robert Hill
crashes.
Jr.
Oh, my goodness. Ray Bracey got up in the air in a separate incident further back. But a huge crash here. We were just talking about great opportunities for Peeler and Cooper and Gutierrez. All of them taken out in that one.
And look at the standings right now. Look where the 4 car is at.
Yeah, Nick Delicato, big time beneficiary there. You just can't kill this guy.
Yeah, you can never count him out, but definitely that 66 car looks killed. 4 wide wasn't gonna work.
They
made it work a lot longer than I thought. And man, that contact between Cooper Johnson taking that hard hit to the outside wall. Ooh, Gamera nowhere to go, man.
That was incredible. Cooper Johnson, Seth Rawls, and Kian Riley coming up on Peeler and Thomas with wounded old tire race cars. Cooper tried to slingshot it around the outside, hit the wall. That bottled them up. Kian was on the bottom. He got the run, and they all 4 sent it. Usually, you have guys that back out. Nobody was backing out. They were all like, I hope somebody else backs out and gives us a lane. Nobody did, and it wasn't going to work.
Yeah, it was definitely entertaining to watch. A lot going on there. And man, oh man, the chase implications. Man, I'd hate to be the one who if we had someone to do live point standings, I'd hate to be that number cruncher.
Oh no. And you know who really this sucks a lot for Robert Hill. I'm just looking at it. Robert Hill had the whole thing missed. Dylan Thomas. Oh, he just got hit by Dylan Thomas right at the end. I do look at Ty McIntosh, who had that wreck. Tyler missed the whole thing. Tyler McIntosh is in 5th place now.
Yeah, kind of after all it shuffled out, Ty McIntosh in 5th, and Gutierrez still holding on to. Yeah, Tepe, man, yeah, he's doing all right.
7th.
Or 7th, and Delicato, he has fallen back too. Oh man, and that was a hard hit for Robert Hill too. But so he's still sitting in the 8th position, it shows on scoring. So man, just in spite of that's a hard hit.
Timothy Conrad's got all 4 corners on his race car. Conrad wasn't in the chase-offs here until Evans pulled out. And as you can see here, he's survived the night. He he's got to make it around about 8 more treacherous laps the way this one's gone so far. But he's in position to score some serious points here and make that almost gimme playoff berth show that he deserved it. And I think he has shown. He's not performing like a guy who got in off of a guy pulling out of the chase-offs. He's looking good tonight.
Yeah, it seems like he's definitely, again, as you said on top of the broadcast, changing those gears. Once you know that you're in, you still see only one car in the top 10. That's not a chaser, and that's Dave Carpenter running in that 4th spot. But I think one other curious note, we do see Robert Hill. We've seen Gutierrez involved in that last wreck too. How are these cars going to drive? We see Tepe up there too without a bumper.
They don't care.
Yeah, and there's going to be cars behind him. We've seen Indelicado. He's still got to have a little bit of that speed as well. And it's going to be, I think, a lot of shuffling for position, and definitely this chaos might not be done as we get ready to go green here.
You know, I'm excited to watch Rocket Man there in 3rd place. He's restarting behind our leader. He might get a good restart. Seth Rawls does not want to race this season. Kean and Damian have. You know that 25 car is hungry for a win. What better way to start his chase-off championship bid than a win? And I think he's going to take it real far to the inside. That's just my prediction. I think that's a pretty easy prediction, but
we'll see how it plays out as we get ready to hit the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. Amy with a good jump, and what a jump by Rawls as well.
That might get looked at.
Ooh, boy. Well,
Seth might have jumped before Damian.
Uh-oh. Done.
I haven't heard anything yet.
Fair.
Fair.
What was
All
that?
clear?
All clear.
Yeah,
Wow,
all
what a
clear, all
restart.
fair.
Oh, man, we're wrecking.
Caution, caution.
Oh, caution out.
Robert Hill, I
Oh,
think.
And Robert Hill again, that hard hit. Robert Hill not happy with the contact that was given. He was probably off pace. Ooh.
you can't really fault the land shark there. He was in the 3 wide. He was in the middle 3 wide.
Yeah.
Yep, he's in the
Kinda
middle
got
3-1. Yep.
sandwiched.
Yep. Kind of nowhere to go
that.
for the 73.
That's not what Seth Rawls needed to see. He's going to be restarting on the outside with a huge disadvantage. That's about as perfect a restart I've seen anybody get aside from the leader all night. And it's going to go to waste completely. And now he's put on his heels here. He's going to have the 2 remaining fastest cars of tonight's race starting to his inside.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. We're going to see if Rawls might be in that position too, though, that he's going to take some chances, because if he gets it to pay off, maybe flirt with jumping the restart here.
And you know what I didn't even consider? These guys are on much fresher tires than Damian.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that.
Damian has not come down pit road in a while. So, Seth's got to hope Kean gets stuck behind Damian. Kean's got to hope. This race rides on what I think this rides on what lane Damian picks, because in the end, the 25 and the 11, I forgot to consider tires. And for that matter, tie behind them. The 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place cars are definitely faster than Damian just because they've got fresher tires. So I think it's going to matter on where Damian goes and who gets the right lane on him. And Damian could very well hold them off and win the race himself. It's just going to be hard.
Yeah, I think the biggest beneficiary to this 12 car is the fact that we've had a bunch of cautions, and he has older tires, but maybe not a lot of green flag laps, but there's still, I think, as you said, it's going to be a distinct advantage between the 25 and 11's tires versus Damian's.
Should be getting the 1 to green around here, and it's not over. We could still have another restart. This might not be the... No, we're still pacing around for another lap here. Oh, no, pace car lights are off. They were just a little delayed. So, yeah, here we go. We're going to have 4 to green on the restart, and that doesn't mean we're done with restarts. We could line them back up again here in a little bit for all we know.
Yeah, and we'll see. One name to keep an eye out on is that guy in 9th position, Nick Indelicado, again getting turned by his teammate just a couple cautions ago.
Great salvage job.
See if he can salvage it even more. And 4 laps to do it, though. But the one thing I think Damian's hoping for, getting one of those classic restarts, except not having one of those Shift Esport Fords right on his bumper like he had to deal with last restart. I think he got saved by the caution there last time indeed, but still a lot. Only 4 laps to go. Still a lot can happen, a lot can change. as we get ready to head down to the Geico restart zone.
Here we
Damien's
go.
gonna lead him to the green. Here we go, indeed. Green, green, green is out.
Kean got a good start.
Kean got a good start. Damien, decent start, but you see right on that bumper, Kean is. Where's Seth? Oh, he's going to lose a bunch of positions. To be, well, falling back to third. He's on the
Oh,
outside.
Kean gives
Oh,
the bumper to Damien.
Damien's blocking. He's pinching. They're
Rawls
trying
has
to
got a
hang
huge
on.
run.
Rawls, he might be in the catbird seat. These guys, it look like neither of them want to give an inch on the racetrack. Damien's trying to pinch that 11 car on exit, but we're going to see maybe both cars dive down on the apron. But I think Kean's going to get him with that fresher tires. It's going to be tall order for that 12 car to hold him off. He's still there.
Oh, Damien
Going-
sails it off into the corner.
I don't know if he's going to be able to hang on. Oh, he does.
Oh, he's still
Oh,
there. He's got a small run. Kean is almost clear, though.
Oh, boy. I think maybe one trip through the apron with 2 laps to go might be all he needs.
Seth
Oh,
Rawls with the dive bomb.
oh, boy, almost.
That wasn't Seth Rawls with the dive bomb. That was Leininger misjudging the entrance of turns 3 and 4.
Oh, something is wrong with
Oh,
this car.
Seth Rawls!
Seth is in the wall. Something
He's-
happened to the
he
25
died!
car.
What the heck just happened? Seth Rawls battling for the second spot. Now he is off the racetrack. He's back in the 17th position. What in the world?
We just saw Seth Rawls' black flags cleared in the feed. I don't know what happened to Seth. He broke to the right.
That must have been a mechanical issue of some kind.
I don't know, but
That
white
was-
flag is out here. Kean Riley has gotten around
He
Damien.
does have a
is
meatball
cruising.
all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's I would expect him to have a meatball. How hard he hit that.
Yeah. But now coming out of turns 1 and 2 for the final time, Kean Riley looking to get the broom out. Couldn't have asked for a better start to this chase as Kean Riley's going to cross the line. He's going to get
David.
win number 2 of the chase-off. What?
David Carpenter coming home third.
Oh, look at that.
Also, I want to give a
Great
shout
run.
out to Ray Bracey saying that Bra and P were in pit road at some point.
That's dirty. and Damien giving every bit of effort he could with those older tires. He comes home in second, but good runs for Ty McIntosh and Nick Indelicato, which about 10 laps ago we would have thought this points would have been a whole lot worse for that 4 car than what's going to end up being.
I mean, Kean sweeping the night will have the points advantage, but Nick Indelicato to come back and finish 5th. That's season-saving stuff right there. It was looking like a real bad situation for him. He'll be in a hole for sure, but it's going to be better. Another guy to look at, Ty McIntosh had a huge night coming home with dual top 4s. It's going to be huge for him in the points. Damian Leininger with 2 top 5s as well, and we've got our top 3 here. Or we've got 2 of our top 3 here.
Yep, I'm also trying to see if we can get a quick word with Seth Rawls in the Infield Care Center, but he has not replied back to my message yet.
Oh.
All right, we'll see what happened to the 25 car. But first up, we'll bring in Dave Carpenter, who survived a lot of the mayhem, brings it home on the bottom step of that podium, as Matty B would say. And Dave, man, what a wild and crazy run. Did you think with the way your car looked, didn't look too clean there at the end, but still managed to bring her home in 3rd place. Talk us through your night a little bit.
Let me tell you that was a rough one. I just drove the hell out of it at the end there. It's like I threw it on the outside a couple times and it stuck, and I was able to get a run off, and my heart's still pounding. I'll put it that way.
So yeah, it looked like for a lot of the night there was a lot going on in front of you, behind you. It seemed like no one was safe from any disaster tonight.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, my strategy changed throughout the race. Like when we had those first couple early cautions, and being as the first one went green, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try a fuel strategy. So I was just paddling and just riding around. And then in one of my stops, I screwed up and forgot to uncheck my tires. And so I had to like wait on that second stop. That's got me, like when everybody else pitted for their first set, I stayed out. And it kind of helped me in the long run, because then I was off sequence, and each time they'd pit, I'd get up towards closer to the front. And but then yeah, at the end it was just it was a dogfight out there. Everybody was throwing it in there, bonsaiing. Just the last restart, I was able to, like I said, I was on the outside and I just threw it in there and 1 and 2, was able to make it stick, and then was able to get a run on Ty and get by him. And it is what it is. I'll take a third after this season.
Yeah, it's been a wild and crazy season for you, and not so much in the good way. But now that you're not in the as we self-proclaimed the chase off here, is this kind of the time to kind of take those chances, kind of get yourself off sequence, just try things that everyone else isn't, just to get the best runs and kind of be a little bit of a spoiler out there.
Yeah, I would say so, but for the most part, I really don't usually have the pace that a lot of these fast guys have. So I played a strategy game, more often. I try to play strategy. It's very rare that I am, I can keep up with guys like Damien and Kean and those guys. So, but for me, just to finish third's like a win. I'll take it.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Awesome to seeing a 3-pedal Mafia car here on the podium. But next week, I believe we're heading to Kansas, as Vic said earlier. I'm still correct on that, right, Vic?
Yes.
Okay. So all right. So what kind of mindset do you have going into next week at Kansas?
Show up and race, have a good time, try to have fun, try not to get wrecked. That's about it. We'll see what happens.
I like that. It's almost like I have that same mindset half the time too.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that. But before we send you away with that awesome podium finish, any shout-outs you want to give?
Oh, absolutely. I want to first off thank my friends from the Everyone Racers podcast. They're my Lemons teammates. We just raced up at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Lemons, and we actually won Class A and B. I won Class B with my car, and also want to thank Ronster Wraps. That he knocks them out of the ballpark with my paint. If I always say, if it don't go, chrome it, make it look good. So you need a good wrap, fair price. You look up Ronster Wraps. And of course, thank you guys. You guys put on a hell of a broadcast. Vic for putting up with us, or I'm sorry, not me. I'm an angel. Putting up with the rest of them.
I love it.
Just kidding, Vic. But yeah, thanks to all you guys for doing this. It's a blast.
So
Compared to some of those guys, you are an angel.
Aw.
Yeah. Aw, I feel the love.
Hey, you got to take it. But that's one thing I got to ask you. How with how chaotic this the end of this second half was, how close was that to a real life Lemons race?
Oh, actually, it's pretty close to a Lemons race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's pretty damn close. I got to say, it's pretty chaotic. But there, you're doing it for, each person drives like 2 to 2.5 hours straight of that. So.
Oh,
it's pretty
boy.
close. But I tell you, my Fitbit will tell me my heart rate was actually probably higher tonight. To be honest.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yes.
I might have to check my Fitbit watch, see how my heart rate was just watching you guys out there. It was a pretty wild show you guys put on there. But thanks, Dave, for joining us, and hopefully you can talk to you maybe once or twice more before the season's over.
So.
Heck
It's been
yeah.
a while.
Yeah, I know it's been it's too far and few between. So make it a habit.
Absolutely, I'll try. All right. Thanks,
Yep.
guys.
Yep, you bet. That was Dave Carpenter coming home in third place here tonight. And next up, we do have Damian Leininger coming home in second spot. We'll let Matty B take it over.
Yeah, we got Damian Leininger up here in the booth again. We've had him up here quite a bit this season. Good to have him back here to open up the first round of our chase-offs. And Damian, P5 and a P2 finish. Man, we had a camera on you pretty much all night. You were constantly dogging it out there and battling your butt off. You got some good finishes tonight. I know you wanted to end up in the winners column at least once more times, but sum up the night, because I don't really know where to start asking you questions. You've been through it. You've been through quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, first it really started with I expect Phoenix to be one of my best tracks on the service, and I was 2.5 tenths off in qualifying and practice. So I was frustrated from that point, and I think I ended up qualifying 11th, and I got up to, I was battling inside the top 5 and had some good runs there with Indelicato, and we were battling a little bit, and I told myself to short pit in the first race at lap 35, and I got talked to just play it safe and go when the leaders go or go the next lap. And had I win at 35, I think I would have been better because I ended up coming out behind Indelicato, behind McIntosh, and it was so hard to pass on the bottom, so you couldn't really do anything once you got there. And then, in the second race, seemed like I was the car for many people to use their brakes on. I just was consistently on the outside because I was like, hey, if you're gonna, you can't pass on the inside, so I'll go on the outside and make people, lift or not get the run that way. And well, was the one that got put into the wall and hit. So trying to battle through with some damage there. And when that caution came out, I kind of already decided to stay out when all the other guys pitted, and I just wanted to get away from it. I knew if I went with them, I mean, it was what, 3 teammates right there, and I was the only one. And they each got me kind of once or twice within the last few laps anyway, so I just wanted to get away from it. And tried to steal a win there. And had they I think had that last caution not been shortened a lap, I think it might have been a closer finish. At least I might have had a shot to do something with Kian in the last lap. But just I think I had 25 lap older tires than they did at that point. There was just nothing else I can do. I mean, tried everything I could, second and a fifth. I mean, it's good to start the playoffs, hopefully gain a couple spots in the points, but it's going to be hard to beat Kian and Delicato when they're consistently finishing first and second in front of you.
And I'll say this much. I think it's fair to say they've been the two at the top for the whole season, but I've seen you up there at various different points this season, just as good as they are. And I think tonight, I could have drew a name out of a hat with you and Nick and Keenan there, and any of you guys, I would have been fine picking for the winner of tonight's race. But next week we head into Kansas. Is that a place you fancy?
At one time it was, but not recently. I mean, I like those tracks where you can kind of get up on the wall and run them, and Kansas seems to be one of them. But the last year or so on the service, it hasn't really treated me well, and so it's going to be interesting to see the next handful of tracks. I mean, we're Kansas, and then I think we go to Charlotte Roval's the new one now, and I've never ran the long format there, or whatever, layout, whatever you want to call it. So that's going to be interesting there. But kind of USA and Homestead are the two I'm excited to end up on. Just got to do something to help keep it close or close the gap somehow to those two, because I know they're going to be fast at, especially the road course tracks. They wipe me big time.
No, I'm gonna butt in for
Go ahead.
one question here.
Oh God.
Matthew said that he was comfortable picking you, and I wasn't. So where you had a good night here tonight,
Thank
Damien.
Well,
goodness.
it's different for you, Goody.
But
Thank
if I would have picked you, if I would have picked you, where do you think you would have ended up?
How many cars do we have today?
28.
30th. I mean, there would have been some. I mean, if Vic told us the who you guys picked before the first race when we were pulling off pit road, and I literally just told Adam in our chat, I was like, thank goodness Goody didn't pick me, because I felt like you were going to after the strictly stock race. Felt like you were gonna have an inkling there, and I just said thank you that you didn't.
Yeah, I was a little worried too. Not only jinx you, but myself as well. Anyway,
Yeah,
Matt, carry on.
My thing is, I want to jinx you. That's why.
I see, and that's what it is.
It's okay. Even without picking you, he still lost the points lead in the broadcast
Yes!
championship.
Yep, yeah.
Yes.
I know I got the points lead. It's mine now.
That's what you get for giving me
It's
a
actually
white
mine.
roll. That's
No, it's
what
not.
Goody gets for giving me a white roll cage today.
Oh, boo.
Oh,
I'm
I got a serious question though, Goody.
Oh,
You gave me a white roll
oh,
cage,
oh.
but what color is his pit box?
Wait, hang on. You're interviewing Goody?
Yeah,
Why am I bringing it?
Goody, what color is his pit box?
Oh no.
I don't know why.
I'm asking.
What is it?
Maybe Damien
Did you
should
color
finish
it?
the race.
Did I color it, Damien? I have no idea.
I have no idea. Did you?
Was it green and red, or was it colored?
Is
Oh,
it green and red?
It was probably green and red.
No!
Oh goodness.
Ah,
Man,
Yeah.
what are we gonna do with this guy?
I don't know.
I
I'm
don't
fired.
know. Yeah, I mean, you should be fired from the team after that restart violation earlier.
Hey,
in the stock
there's
race.
a lot of deep thinking. We won't get into that. we won't get into that. Maybe for the late night show.
Maybe.
All right, Matt, you can go on.
Yeah, sorry,
more
Matt.
more serious interviews. Oh boy.
Huh?
Matt, did you get...
Oh, sorry. No, I went and watched the movie while you guys hijacked my interview. I'm back
Thanks.
now. It's okay.
Thanks.
Hey, The Dirt's a great movie. You should watch it if you like Motley Crue. I just got done
Yeah.
with it.
Oh yeah, I want to watch that.
Yeah, Damien. I don't know what else. I have my train of thoughts gone.
Seem to do that a lot when I'm in here.
At least it's not Johnny Eckert. It could be worse.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone you want to thank in any shoutouts?
You know, just gotta say thanks to Vic for putting this on. I know we were talking beforehand, before this race in the chat, and the effort that he puts into, you know, giving us a solid league to go into. I don't think people understand the behind the scenes enough. I clearly didn't until more of our conversation today. So thank you, Vic, Dallas, anybody else that helps put this league on. Carlos, Goody, Matthew for broadcasting this and letting us get on these tangents here. And the Batflip podcast, it's a baseball podcast you can find on Apple and Spotify. Miss Goody's Goodies, just everyone that at South Shore Racing that you know, keeps the team together, and just thanks everyone for watching and coming back each week for our endless rants. Oh, sorry,
Oh,
and
you got-
Hank
you got-
Steinmiller for coming up on the box.
Ooh.
Okay. I was just making sure nobody else had anything to add.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can't do the bicep kiss this week because we didn't win.
Ooh, I
Next
was looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you did win the Strictly Stack race, so I mean, you technically could. Maybe a little.
Oh.
Tricep kiss.
Oh, all right.
Aw.
Oh,
Little smooch.
there you go.
All right, Damien. Hey, thank you for coming up here. Thank you for the fun interview, and thank you for making it entertaining tonight. Look forward to watching you do more work and go for this championship going forward. Congratulations again.
Thanks. Anytime, guys. Can't wait to watch it back.
Absolutely. I couldn't help but think about that restart when he said, "Can't wait to watch it back." He's gonna be like, "I didn't choose anything."
Oh yeah, that's gonna be. Like, what
That's
the
the
heck?
first thing that popped into my head.
The one commentator that can manage to confuse everyone in the world.
I'm proud of it.
But one guy who was not confused all night, that was our race winner of half 1 and 2 is Kian Rally. And Kian, you know, it wasn't that dominating performance that we've seen in half number 1, but man, oh man, it was an eventful one indeed. Talk us through half number 2.
I don't know. It wasn't good. I probably hit about 3 or 4 guys out there just on my own accord. So I've got no friends and no teammates left. So it's just a bad
You have
night.
no friends?
People aren't gonna see past that. So
Well, and obviously you're probably referring to the contact that you made with Indelicato, and you know, to be fair, that we've seen a lot of racing between teammates tonight. If it was even before that, it looked like even before that contact was made, it did look like you and the 4-car both were racing each other to levels that you guys probably wouldn't have seen that even last week before we got to the chase off here, and you know, as maybe as a bad situation it feels tonight, I guess that's kind of the product that these chase offs bring.
no, I mean it was just a bad race. I had my own teammates threatening to wreck me halfway through it.
Oh boy.
Tonight and next week. So, you know, take that for what you will. But I mean, guys are gonna. I mean, it's obvious I'm a little clumsy sometimes. I make mistakes, but people refuse to see past that. So we'll just have to take our huge effing points lead out of here, and hopefully not get taken out, because some guys have hall passes obviously now. But we've got a good points buffer. It was unfortunately at the expense of a lot of my guys, who I didn't want to see, you know, fall victim to that. But they have every right to be upset with me. But I'm not sure what we're gonna do going forward.
So is there anything that you think you can do, you know, a master of of kind of maybe being put in that situation was the great Dale Earnhardt Sr., where could you maybe even swindle them to make it think it was their fault? That was one of the masterful things that Dale Earnhardt used to do. But
no, Nick thinks I wrecked him on purpose, and it does look bad. I can see why he thinks that, but you know, nothing out there tonight was anybody else's fault. I put my nose in a lot of places it shouldn't have been put in, and all the guys paid the unfortunate price of my negligence. Except for Damien, who was the one guy I didn't wreck tonight. Shout out to him. That battle towards the end there was really good. I did get into him, but he cut me some slack. Talked to him about it. You know, made some amends. It was nice to have him not trying to kill me on that final run when we got around him and won the race. But you know, it's a bit of a Ross Chastain situation, I guess. Everyone is out to get me now, it feels like, but apparently from the way some guys have been talking, it's been that way all season. So, survived this far.
Yeah, you survived this far, and definitely, does it change your mindset of how you race next week going into Kansas? You know, maybe people not having the same quite opportunities as a track like Phoenix here to maybe get that payback. So is that something that's gonna be in the back of your mind, or are you going to be like Ross Chastain going out there and saying, like you said, hey, we just got to go get it, and whatever happens, the chips fall where they may?
Everybody wants to be a villain if they can, but when you've got your own guys mad at you, you've really got to tread lightly. So, I mean, it's just going to be a case of keeping my nose clean. I've had a couple races this season where I just really haven't done a good job of that, and this was a prime example. Despite the fact that the first half was incredible, the second half, well, it ended in a win, ended in a lot of wrecked cars and hurt feelings. So obviously we don't want to repeat something like that. I've been told I'm not going to get cut any breaks, but I don't expect that anyway. I cut plenty of breaks for plenty of guys in the first 50 laps of the second half. So, you know, while it does boil down to wanting to go out there and win races, I don't want to win races like this.
Yeah, and it's always kind of one of the double-edged sword of how to get a victory, but it's definitely, I think, a product of a lot of these restarts happening. Things can definitely get chaotic, and certainly did, not only for you but for a lot of guys out there tonight. But again, best of luck to you at Phoenix. But now we can let you have the unabbreviated version of the shoutouts that you want to give.
Of course. My thanks go out to all the guys behind the scenes, Vic and Dallas, that run this league for us. It's a lot of fun. It really gives me something to look forward to on my Thursday nights. You guys up in the broadcast booth, I'm sure, put on a great show tonight. There's a lot for you guys to talk about and a lot to discuss. So I'm sure the broadcast will be an interesting one. Of course, thanks to Seth for putting all these cars together and making my sponsor, DSCR, at DSCR League on Twitter, Dynasty Stock Car Racing, look so good as we got out there and won them 2 races tonight. And to all the guys back at Shifty Sports, I know they're not very happy with me. They probably won't hear this, but I'm sorry that you guys had to fall victim to a lot of my chicanery tonight. It was not good. But I understand the feelings going forwards. I understand people may not be very happy with me. I didn't handle myself with composure during the middle of the race. Getting rowdy at guys getting rowdy at me, and I just kind of fed into it, made it worse. So a lot of that's on me, but they're a good group of guys, and hopefully we get to stay in the 11 and finish off the season without any sort of turmoil, without any more turmoil taking place within our 6-car organization.
Yeah, certainly maybe some team meetings going on during the week here, but best of luck to you next week at Kansas, and enjoy that points lead. Maybe sniff a championship now.
Yeah, we'll sleep on it.
yeah, that's about all you can do at this point.
Thanks, guys.
Yep, thank you. Key and Rally coming home with the both wins here tonight, and with that, Matthew, there might be a big storyline going into next week.
I can't remember the last time I raised my voice that many times in a broadcast.
Oh boy, yeah.
I mean, there were multiple. It was a chaotic race, and yeah, the storylines. I mean, some bad blood between teammates. And Delicato's got some work to do in this championship. He was the guy that led the points all season, and you know, for the first time since Daytona, he's not the guy atop the standings, and it's not just two guys. It's a bit of a battle up there. So it was a tale of two halves to start this thing off. A quiet first half, a chaotic second half. I don't expect things to be much different going forward. And I think as these chase-offs, as we now have dubbed them, ramp up, the action is just going to increase in the intensity as well.
You know, one last question for you too. You know, with that bad blood that might be brewing inside Shift Esports, you know, with Key and Rally, with how that second half played out, you know, Kean said sleep on it, and sometimes even if you're, you know, if I'm mad at someone who drives for another team, someone I don't deal with every week, that could potentially fester the next time I have that opportunity. But once it's amongst teammates, does that kind of dissolve a little bit quicker, or your anger dissolve, I should say?
Spark notes it. Ask me again briefly. It's interest. Ironically enough,
He's zoned out.
messaging. I am messaging some internal affairs.
Oh, okay. You're probably.
So go
you're
ahead.
probably-
I'm
you're-
listening. You got me now. You've got me now.
You're probably dealing with you know, now that since this is involving a lot of his teammates, does
Yes.
that dissolve quicker than say if he wasn't dealing with a teammate?
Yes and no. I mean, as teammates, you know, you want to have friends out on the battlefield. You want to have guys who have your back, but at the same time, it hurts more that the guys that you work with, you know, if something happens, if you do something to hurt them, it's almost like, well, how can I trust you if you could just go off and do something like that, you know? So it comes down to a lot of personal trust and how they plan to work it out amongst themselves. Every situation is different.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this does play off and see if any of it gets settled between now and next weekend at Kansas. As you know, probably one of the good and bad things about you know, it's good, it's nice having those teammates, but a lot of with these chases or playoffs or these chase-offs that you have, a lot of that kind of contradicts that whole team mentality, and definitely puts a different light on things. You know, back in the day, if they had a chase, you know, you're a one-car team, you're a one-man show, so the only guy you could trust is yourself. But definitely the game is played a lot different nowadays. But with that, we'll wrap up tonight's broadcast, and we'll see how things are played out next week at Kansas, right here on 3 Wide Television. For Vic Bloom, Matthew Bayuk, and Carlos Acosta, I'm Mike Goodman. Thank you all for tuning in to this week's OSCA Series Chase-Off opener. Until next time, good night now.